Chapter 58. When Qin Haodong arrived at the crime squad, Nalan Wuxia was sitting in the office waiting for him with an anxious look on her face. Next to her was Wang Jianfeng, the captain of the crime squad. After seeing Qin Haodong enter the door, Nalan Wuxia said with joy, "Dr. Qin, you're here." Wang Jianfeng said, "Little Qin, I'm sorry to trouble you again, but this case is very important. We really can't find a better way, otherwise we wouldn't have asked you to help." "Captain Wang, you're welcome. Just tell me what you need." Qin Haodong sat down next to Nalan Wuxia. Wang Jianfeng said, "Captain Nalan, please introduce the situation to Dr. Qin." Nalan Wuxia said, "Our informant in Burma said that the poppy in the Golden Triangle had a bumper harvest this year, and the output was 30% higher than that of the previous year. This directly led to the serious situation of drug control in Jiangnan province and even in Huaxia. According to insider information, the big drug lords in the Golden Triangle saw that Huaxia had a large population, rapid economic development in recent years, and people's pockets were bulging, so they were ready to sell all the increased drugs to Huaxia. In order to cut off the poisonous hands of the Golden Triangle and fight a comprehensive war on drugs, the police department set up a special task force." Qin Haodong asked, "What does this have to do with us in Jiangnan?" Nalan Wuxia said, "According to the latest information, the big drug lords in Burma have sent their henchmen to Huaxia with a large number of drugs to test the water and find a way to transport the drugs. The place chosen by these henchmen is Jiangnan City." Qin Haodong nodded secretly. The drug control work in Huaxia was still very strong. It seemed that the insider had entered the top level of the drug dealers to get such accurate information. "According to the information obtained, we have the suspect under control and brought him to the crime squad. However, after a serious search, even using drug-sniffing dogs, we didn't find where the drugs were. Later, we conducted a surprise interrogation of the suspect, but the result was very unsatisfactory. It has been a full 19 hours and still nothing has been found." Wang Jianfeng said, "The suspect is a young man in his 30s, and he has a child who has just turned 1 year old, which makes it very difficult for us to interrogate him. The problem now is that if we can't find strong evidence within 24 hours, we can only let him go. If the suspect is released, it means that our Jiangnan police are unable to do anything about the latest drug transport method in Burma. Then it is likely that a large number of drugs will flow into our Jiangnan. In this case, we thought of Dr. Qin and wanted to ask Dr. Qin to help us interrogate the suspect with hypnosis." Nalan Wuxia said, "We have reported this case to the Huaxia Police Department. They attach great importance to it. Fang Chuanxiong, the leader of the special task force, is on his way to Jiangnan with 2 torture experts. However, if we rely on the police department to solve the case, our Jiangnan police will lose face. We want to quickly solve the case before the 2 experts arrive, so we need your help." Qin Haodong said indifferently, "No problem. It will only take a few minutes to interrogate a henchman." But at this moment, the door opened and a middle-aged police officer walked in. Behind him were 2 old men in their 50s. Although they looked refined, they could not hide the arrogance in their expressions. After a slight astonishment, Wang Jianfeng immediately greeted him, "Leader Fang, you came so fast." Nalan Wuxia also stood up and whispered in Qin's ear, "This is Fang Chuanxiong, the leader of the special task force. Those 2 people should be torture experts. I didn't expect them to come so fast." After a few simple polite words, Fang Chuanxiong sat down and said, "Captain Wang, how is the case going?" Wang Jianfeng said with some embarrassment, "There is no progress. No drugs were found, and the suspect is very tight-lipped. There is no breakthrough yet." Fang Chuanxiong frowned, looked at his watch and said, "The case has passed for 19 hours. Why is there no result at all? How do you do your criminal investigation work?" Wang Jianfeng's cheeks were red. However, Hong had nothing to say. As the saying went, a higher official could crush a lower official. Moreover, Fang Chuanxiong was not only 1 level higher than him, but also 1 level higher than the director of the Jiangnan Public Security Bureau. Besides, it was true that he failed to solve the case quickly, so he could only listen to what Fang Chuanxiong said. At this time, a tall and thin expert wearing glasses said, "Leader Fang, you can't blame them. Jiangnan is a small place. The police have little experience in handling cases and their level is low. It's normal that they can't solve such a big case. It sounded like he was interceding for Wang Jianfeng, but in fact, he was belittling the ability of the entire Jiangnan police to handle cases. Nalan Wuxia's face darkened and she said, "Sir, please respect our Jiangnan police." Another short and fat expert sneered and said, "If you want to be respected, you have to have the ability. If you have the ability, you don't need to invite us." Nalan Wuxia said angrily, "Without you, our Jiangnan police can solve the case, and no one invited you." The short and fat expert was obviously used to being arrogant. In the past, wherever he went, he was treated like the moon. Now a little policewoman didn't give him face. He suddenly became angry and said angrily, "Since you are so capable, why is there no result until now?" "That's because I just arrived. If I came earlier, the case would have been solved." Qin Haodong didn't like these two self-righteous guys who took advantage of their seniority, so he stood up to speak for Nalan Wuxia. "Who are you?" The short and fat expert looked at Qin Haodong and asked. Wang Jianfeng saw these people quarreling more and more fiercely, so he quickly said, "This is Qin Haodong, Dr. Qin, invited by our criminal police unit to help us solve this case." As soon as he said this, the two experts laughed together and said, "I don't like to hear that your Jiangnan police are incompetent. You even asked a doctor to help you interrogate. I have lived for more than 50 years, and I have never heard such a funny joke." Wang Jianfeng's face also changed and he said, "Dr. Qin is very good at psychology. He once helped us." Before he finished speaking, Fang Chuanxiong interrupted him impatiently and said, "Well, there is not much time left. Hurry up and get down to business." He stood up and said to Wang Jianfeng, "Where is the interrogation room? Let the two experts start working immediately." Obviously, he didn't take Qin Haodong seriously at all. He didn't think that a young man in his 20s would be of any help to the interrogation of the case. Wang Jianfeng was very clear about Qin Haodong's ability. He didn't give up and said, "Leader Fang, let Dr. Qin try first. If he doesn't work, let the two experts come out." The expert wearing glasses looked unhappy and said, "What do you mean? Can a little doctor's interrogation level be higher than ours?" The short and fat expert said proudly, "There is no need to waste time. No one in Huaxia can solve this case in 5 hours except the two of us." Fang Chuanxiong was also not very satisfied with Wang Jianfeng's performance. He said in a cold voice, "Captain Wang, we have no time to waste. Hurry up and lead the way." Wang Jianfeng shook his head helplessly, and could only take several people to the interrogation room. Nalan Wuxia said angrily, "What the hell? He thinks he is great just because he came from the capital." Qin Haodong didn't care at all. He didn't need to do anything himself. He was more happy to be idle. "Now that there are experts, I'll go back." "Don't, Dr. Qin. I just saw the drug dealer. This man is obviously a person selected by the big drug lords in Burma. He has a very strong psychological quality, and has rich experience in fighting with the police. Such a person is very difficult to deal with. I have a hunch that the two bullshit experts won't work. When the time comes, we will have to trouble you." Qin Haodong said, "I don't care so much. I'm just a little doctor. Solving the case is the police's business." Then he turned his head and was about to leave. Nalan Wuxia grabbed his hand. Qin Haodong turned back and smiled at her. "Officer Nalan, do you want to take advantage of me?" "Bah, nonsense." Nalan Wuxia shook off Qin Haodong's hand and said seriously, "Qin Haodong, I don't care if you're a doctor or a student. This case is very important to every Huaxia person. You know, if these drugs enter our country, millions of people will be harmed. Isn't your purpose as a doctor to cure patients and save people? If you solve this case, it will be more meritorious than saving one patient or even 100 patients." Qin Haodong thought for a moment and said, "Well, you've convinced me. I can wait here for a while, but on one condition. I promise you anything as long as you are willing to help." Nalan Wuxia said excitedly. Qin Haodong looked at her from head to toe, which made her panic. Then he smiled and said, "In fact, it's nothing. I just want you to have dinner with me, drink tea with me, chat with me, and be my third escort." "Bah, you're the third escort." Nalan Wuxia gave him a charming look. "Tell me, what do you want to eat?" "It doesn't matter what I eat. The key is who I eat with. Everything tastes good when there is a beauty to accompany me." Qin Haodong made fun of Nailan Wuxia. They had dinner together and then waited patiently. Time passed quickly. 4.5 hours had passed while they were waiting, but there was still no news from the interrogation room. Fang Chuanxiong was very calm at first, thinking that the 2 experts he had brought with him would be able to solve the case quickly. But as time passed, he slowly began to become anxious and restless, pacing back and forth in the hall of the criminal police unit. As the leader of the special task force, he certainly hoped that the first case he took over could be handled beautifully, but now it seemed that it would be very difficult. Wang Jianfeng, who had been accompanying him, also had an anxious look on his face. Only Qin Haodong looked relaxed and chatted with Nailan Wuxia in the corner. Sometimes he made her giggle and sometimes he made her blush. Another 10 minutes passed, and there were only 20 minutes left before 24 hours. The door of the interrogation room opened, and 2 experts came out. Oh, the great experts came out. No wonder they are experts. The case has been solved in 20 minutes. It seems that we should go out and have a good celebration, Qin Haodong said with a smile. Fang Chuanxiong also asked eagerly, yes, you too. How is the case? The 2 experts looked embarrassed. The one wearing glasses said in a low voice, Leader Fang, the suspect is too cunning. There is no result for the time being. Didn't you say that our Jiangnan police are incompetent? You are a great expert from the capital. Why can't you solve it? This guy had just publicly belittled the Jiangnan police, and Nailan Wuxia had been holding back her anger for a long time. The expert wearing glasses didn't expect to be slapped in the face so soon. He blushed and couldn't speak for a while. The stout expert said, in fact, it's not our fault. The time left is too short. If we were involved at the beginning, we would definitely get the result. Chapter 59. The pudgy expert had nothing to say, but he was obviously much more thick-skinned than the man with glasses. He ignored Qin Haodong and turned to Fang Chuanxiong, saying, Leader, give us another 5 hours, and we'll definitely get the result. Are you kidding? It's going to be 24 hours soon. How can I give you 5 hours? Nailan Wuxia said angrily. She didn't like the 2 experts at all. If they hadn't come out to make trouble, Qin would have solved the case. The chunky expert said confidently, what's wrong with such an important case? Besides, no one knows about it. Fang Chuanxiong lowered his head and pondered. On the one hand, he really wanted to solve the case. On the other hand, he also knew that it was against the discipline to detain people for more than 24 hours without evidence. Just as he was hesitating, the door opened and a man in a famous suit and gold-rimmed glasses came in. I'm Bai Su, a lawyer from the Jiangnan law firm. My client is being questioned by the crime squad. Who is the person in charge of the case? Wang Jianfeng's expression changed slightly when he saw Bai Su. As the captain of the Jiangnan Criminal Police Brigade, he had dealt with this person a lot. Bai Su was famous in the judicial circle of the whole Jiangnan city. First of all, he was very capable. He was proficient in all kinds of laws and was good at finding loopholes in the law. Second, this man had no bottom line. As long as he was paid, he would take any case and provide defense for any kind of person. Unexpectedly, the person behind this henchman invited him. It seemed that today's case was getting more and more difficult. Although this was the crime squad of the Jiangnan city, Fang Chuanxiong's position was the highest, so the case was naturally taken over by him. He said, I'm Fang Chuanxiong, the person in charge of the case. Tell me what you want. Bai Su opened the file bag in his hand and handed a small book and a few pages of paper to Fang Chuanxiong. Officer Fang, this is the lawyer's certificate and the power of attorney of the client's family. He was still very professional. He first showed the relevant documents, and then said to Fang Chuanxiong, Officer Fang, as a lawyer, I want to see if the client has been tortured during the interrogation, or if the interrogation has been extended. The chunky expert was suddenly dumbfounded. He had just proposed to prepare for the overtime interrogation, but Qin Haodong's lawyer came. Fang Chuanxiong frowned. Before he could answer, the door opened and 2 middle-aged women walked in. Hello. I'm from the Association for the Protection of Women and Children. We heard that a 1-year-old child was involved in your case. We'd like to monitor if there's any inappropriate treatment of children. Then 2 more people walked in from the outside, carrying cameras in their hands. Hello, we are reporters from the TV station. We would like to follow up and report on the drug case. Have you found any relevant evidence? Seeing that things were getting out of hand, not only the two experts, but even Fong Chuanxiong was frowning. Behind the henchman was a drug cartel with huge financial resources. It was not surprising that he could mobilize the power of all aspects of society, but at this time he was in a dilemma. If he let the drug dealers go, not only would the entire Jiangnan Public Security Bureau lose face, but also he would lose face. But if he didn't, he couldn't violate the rules under the supervision of so many people. Bai Su sneered, stepped forward and said, "Officer Fong, when did my client come to the criminal police unit for interrogation? How long is it before the 24-hour deadline?" "Well," Fong Chuanxiong looked at his watch and said, 10 minutes. Bai Su asked again, "Do you have enough evidence against my client, and are you ready to further change the criminal coercive measures? Or do you want to let him go immediately?" In the face of the aggressive lawyer, Fong Chuanxiong felt extremely aggrieved, but there was nothing he could do. He sighed helplessly and said to Wang Jianfeng, "Let him go." Bai Su's mouth was a little proud. As long as he could take the man out, there would be a lot of money in his bank card. Just then someone said, "You can't let him go." It was Qin Haodong. He said calmly, "Let me try." Fong Chuanxiong frowned. In his opinion, the young man was making trouble. He said discontentedly, "Don't make trouble. How can 10 minutes be possible? Others can't, but it's enough for me," Qin Haodong said confidently. Wang Jianfeng whispered in Fong Chuanxiong's ear, "Dr. Qin's hypnotism is really good. Anyway, there are 10 minutes left. Let him have a try." Fong Chuanxiong thought for a moment. Nothing could be done in 10 minutes. So he waved his hand and motioned for Wang Jianfeng to take Qin Haodong to the interrogation room. Seeing Wang Jianfeng, Nailan Wuxia and the young man entering the interrogation room together, Bai Su said, "Officer Fong, as a lawyer, I have the right to see if my client has been tortured or treated inhumanely during the interrogation." The two women from the Association for the Protection of Women and Children also said, "We also want to see if you have protected the legitimate rights and interests of children during the interrogation." Fong Chuanxiong looked at the reporter's camera next to him and said, "The interrogation can't be disturbed. Follow me to the monitoring room." Then he took the lawyer and the reporters to the monitoring room of the crime squad. The big screen TV wall showed everything in the interrogation room clearly. Qin Haodong and the other two entered the interrogation room and saw a young man in his 30s walking back and forth on the ground with a 1-year-old boy in his arms. Maybe because of the little boy, he was not handcuffed to the iron stool. In the corner of the interrogation room, there was a huge suitcase, in which dozens of bags of milk powder were neatly placed. Qin Haodong walked over and picked up a bag of milk powder to have a look. There were dense foreign letters on it. It was not English. It should be produced in Burma. The young man said, "Don't look at it. Someone has looked at it dozens of times. If there were drugs in it, my son would have been poisoned." Wang Jianfeng said, "At first, we also suspected that there was something wrong with the milk powder. We did a sample test one by one, but we found nothing." Nailan Wuxia looked at the young man and asked, "Why did you buy so much milk powder? What else can milk powder do? Give it to my son." He glanced at Nailan Wuxia's plump breasts with wretched eyes and said jokingly, "My wife is an airport. If she had your equipment, we wouldn't have to buy milk powder. We can't even finish it. You're courting death." Seeing this guy openly flirting with her, Nailan Wuxia was furious. She stepped forward to teach him a lesson, but was stopped by Wang Jianfeng. There were reporters and lawyers outside. It was not the time to be impulsive. The young man laughed fearlessly and said, "Hit me. Hit me if you can. Don't think I don't know. You will release him in 5 minutes. If you dare to touch me, I will sue you." As he was talking arrogantly, Qin Haodong asked, "Is this child your son?" Seeing someone questioning the identity of the child, the young man's expression changed. He turned his head and was about to scold, but suddenly his expression froze slightly. He had fallen into Qin Haodong's mind-bewitching skill. "Not my son. I haven't married yet," the young man replied honestly. "Where did this child come from?" Qin Haodong asked again. "He stole it for the convenience of covering up when transporting drugs." As soon as he said this, everyone's expression changed. The young man not only admitted that he was a drug trafficker, but also a child abductor. Fang Chuanxiong's face showed a look of ecstasy. With this sentence, he could turn this guy into a criminal, and he would no longer be restricted by 24 hours. The two experts were dumbfounded. They had seen it just now. This henchman was very experienced. No matter how they asked, they couldn't get anything useful out of him. However, when Qin Haodong opened his mouth, this guy told them everything. Did he know magic? Bai Su's face became very ugly, and he secretly scolded, "Idiot." Qin Haodong smiled and asked, "How much drugs did you bring this time?" "Not too much, 10 kilograms, the young man said. "Where are the things? Where did you put them?" This was the most critical question. After Qin Haodong asked it, everyone's heart was in his throat. As long as they found the drugs, they could convict this little henchman. If they couldn't find them, everything would be empty talk. Wang Jianfeng and Nailan Wuxia were nervous. The success of the case was in front of them. The young man pointed to the suitcase and said, "Is it over there?" "What do you mean? Why didn't we see it?" Qin Haodong asked. "It's not outside. This suitcase was specially made by us. The drugs were mixed with raw materials to make this suitcase. It can't be seen from the outside at all, but if you lift it, you will find that this suitcase is very heavy. So much milk powder is to divert your attention and cover the weight of the suitcase." After the young man finished speaking, the people in the police station suddenly realized that it was like this. The drugs were under their noses, but they couldn't find them at all. The drug traffickers' means were getting more and more sophisticated. Nailan Wuxia looked at Qin Haodong with admiration. If he hadn't asked this result, he would never have thought that there were drugs hidden in this suitcase. Qin Haodong smiled slightly. The case was now solved. He asked again, "The drugs are hidden in the suitcase. How can we extract them?" The young man said, "Our experts have already arrived in the south of the Yangtze River. When I take the suitcase there, all the drugs can be restored by chemical means. Not a gram will be missing." Seeing that all the hatchet men had confessed, Bai Su and others had no reason to stay any longer, so they all left the crime squad resentfully. They did take advantage of others to make trouble, but now it seemed that it was useless. Later, Qin Haodong asked a few more questions according to Wang Jianfeng's request, including the drug case and the source of the child. The whole interrogation room was monitored by video, so Qin Haodong was not afraid that the boy would go back on his words. After asking the questions, he left the interrogation room and left the rest to the police. As soon as he went out, Fang Chuanxiong greeted him warmly. He took Qin Haodong's hand and said, "Thank you, young man. Thank you so much." "It's nothing. It's nothing," Qin Haodong said carelessly. "Master, you are the master of interrogation. I'm really sorry just now. I offended you." Fang Chuanxiong apologized again and said, "Young man, our police department is in urgent need of talents like you. As long as you are willing, I will immediately transfer you to the special department. You don't have to worry about the treatment, Mr. Fang. Thank you for your kindness, but I am a doctor. I can help the Public Security Bureau, but I am not interested in being a police officer." Qin Haodong refused directly. "What a pity." Fang Chuanxiong looked regretful, then took out a business card and said, "Brother Qin, this is my business card. You can call me if you need anything." Qin Haodong nodded, took the business card and put it in his pocket. Chapter 60. After the result of the interrogation, the whole criminal police unit was busy. Qin Haodong had nothing to do, so he drove back. It was almost midnight, and there were not many pedestrians on the road. Although he was driving the Honda today, he drove very fast and overtook many cars on the road. When he overtook a Mercedes-Benz, Qin Haodong turned his head subconsciously. The windows of the Mercedes-Benz were covered with solar film, but Qin Haodong's eyesight was far better than that of ordinary people. He saw a woman tied in the back seat of the car, and her mouth was taped. There was no doubt that this was another kidnapping. After the kidnapping of Lin Momo and the little fellow, he couldn't bear to see this kind of dirty business of kidnapping women. Suddenly he was angry. He suddenly turned and blocked the way of the Mercedes-Benz. With a shrill braking sound, the Mercedes-Benz stopped. "Do you know how to drive?" Curses came from the Mercedes-Benz, and then two men in black suits jumped out. Qin Haodong got out of the car and walked to the two men with a smile. The leading man with a flat top scolded Qin Haodong. Are you F***ing sick? How can you drive like this? Hang yourself if you want to die. The other long-haired man pulled him and said, Lao air, forget it. We have business to do. Anyway, we didn't hit her. Let's go. You're lucky. If it was any other day, I would beat you so hard that your mother wouldn't recognize you. The flat-top man scolded again and turned to walk to the car. Stop, did I say you could go? Qin Haodong said. What else do you want? Are you itching for a beating? The flat-top man said angrily. The long-haired man pushed him aside and said to Qin Haodong, the car didn't hit her. What else do you want? Of course. Qin Haodong pointed to the Mercedes-Benz and said, What's the matter with the woman in the back? After hearing this, the faces of the two men in black suits changed. The long-haired man stared at Qin Haodong coldly and asked, Boy, who are you? Qin Haodong smiled and said, I'm just a passerby. I was curious and wanted to ask what was going on. The man with the flat top said fiercely, Get out of here. Let me tell you, there are some things you can't control, and there are some people you can't afford to offend. Qin Haodong smiled and said, I've been curious since I was a child. I'd like to see who on earth I can't afford to offend. Brat, you're courting death. The man with the crew cut said and punched Qin Haodong in the face. This punch was thrown with vigor, and it seemed that he had some skill. Qin Haodong didn't bother to talk nonsense with him. He lifted his foot and kicked the flat-top man's belly hard, sending him flying. At this time, another long-haired man also rushed over. Qin Haodong also kicked him away and fought with the crew-cut man. After dealing with these two people, Qin Haodong stepped to the back seat of the Mercedes-Benz. He opened the door and saw a woman lying in the back seat, looking at him in horror. She was wearing a long white dress, which accentuated her sexy figure even more. Although she had a panicked expression on her face, it could still be seen that she was a very beautiful woman. Don't be afraid. I'm here to save you, Qin Haodong said and pulled the woman out of the car. He tore off the tape on the woman's mouth and broke the rope on her body. How are you? Are you hurt? I'm fine. The woman looked much better. She raised her hand and tidied her hair. This was a woman with a very outstanding temperament. What's going on? Do you need me to call the police for you? Qin Haodong asked. No, the police can't handle my business, the woman said. Qin Haodong turned his head and saw that the two men in black suits had just gotten up and ran away. They're gone. You can go back, Qin Haodong said and was about to leave. The woman grabbed his arm and said in a panic, Wait a minute. What, do you want me to send you back? Qin Haodong asked. The woman hesitated and said, Can I stay at your place for one night? Why do you want to go to my place? Why don't you go home? Qin Haodong was quite surprised. Although this woman was very beautiful, it was not appropriate for her to go home with him as soon as they met. The woman raised her head, looked directly at Qin Haodong and asked, Don't you know me? Qin Haodong was puzzled by the question. He looked at the woman carefully and was sure that he really didn't know her. He asked, Have we met before? The woman obviously didn't expect this answer. After a slight surprise, she said, I'm not from here. I don't have a home in Jiangnan. I used to live in a hotel, but now you see the situation. It's not safe there. I don't dare to go back for the time being. I see. Qin Haodong thought for a moment. He would help her to the end. Besides, she was a beautiful woman. Let's go back with me. After that, he took the woman to the Honda and went back to his home. Your house is so beautiful. The woman had calmed down and looked extremely elegant. Qin Haodong said, It's okay. There are many rooms in my house. You can choose one to live in. Oh, the woman agreed. She seemed to be a little embarrassed to say something. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. Qin Haodong heard a gurgling sound. Only then did he realize that the woman was hungry. Haven't you eaten yet? Yes. The woman nodded. Wait, I'll make you something to eat. Qin Haodong took 2 steps, then turned back and said, There's a bathroom over there. You can take a bath first. The woman nodded and turned into the bathroom. Qin Haodong went into the kitchen. Lin Xian sent someone to take care of the kitchen every day. The ingredients in the kitchen were all available. Soon he brought a large bowl of steaming noodles to the table. At this time the woman opened the bathroom door a crack, poked her head out and said, "My clothes are dirty. Do you have any suitable clothes? Wait, I'll go and have a look." Qin Haodong looked around, but there was no woman's clothes. Finally, he picked up a large shirt of his and threw it to the woman as pajamas. When the woman walked out of the bathroom, her long wet hair was thrown behind her head. Her ruddy skin was tender. The large shirt on her exquisite body had a unique flavor. "Come and eat," Qin Haodong said. The woman went to the table and looked at the vegetarian noodles without any trace of meat. She frowned slightly. Obviously, she was not satisfied with the bowl of noodles. But when she picked up the chopsticks, picked up a noodle and put it into her mouth, her eyes suddenly widened. Delicious. It was so delicious. Although she had eaten a lot of delicious food, she had never eaten such delicious noodles. Although the woman was very hungry and the noodles were delicious, her eating posture was very elegant. It could be seen that she had been well educated. After eating, the woman put the bowl and chopsticks on the table and said with a moved face, "Thank you, your noodles are delicious." Qin Haodong suddenly felt awkward. "Well, I admit that I'm dirty." The woman raised her hand and tidied her long hair to the back of her head, revealing her whole face. Then she looked at Qin Haodong and said, "You really don't know me? Why should I know you? You seem to be famous." Qin Haodong despised this woman in his heart. Although she was very beautiful, although she was very sexy, she could not ask him to know her. She was too narcissistic. The woman looked dull and said, "You saved me, but I still don't know your name. Can you tell me?" "Qin Haodong." The woman waited for a while. After Qin Haodong said these 3 words, there was no more. How rude. Didn't he know how to ask the girl's name? Since he didn't know, he had to say it himself. The woman hesitated for a moment and said, "My name is Ouyang Shanshan." "Oh, that's a good name." Qin Haodong said it casually, but soon realized that something was wrong. Ouyang Shanshan? Why did it sound so familiar? It seemed that the big star his daughter mentioned was also called Ouyang Shanshan. It couldn't be such a coincidence that he picked up a big star randomly. "Your name is Ouyang Shanshan?" "Yes." "You sing?" "I also dabble in film and television." "Great, it's really you." Qin Haodong suddenly became excited. "You don't know me, do you?" Ouyang Shanshan pouted and said. Obviously, she was very dissatisfied with Qin Haodong's indifference just now. People's psychology was very strange. It was annoying to be recognized wherever she went. But when she met someone who didn't know her, she felt very disappointed. But suddenly, she found that Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone and compared it with her while looking at the photo on the phone. What did he mean? Was he afraid that she was deceiving him? Ouyang Shanshan guessed right. Qin Haodong was indeed checking her identity according to the search results of Baidu. He had to be careful about this kind of thing. He promised to get an autograph for his daughter. If he got a fake one, he would feel sorry for the little fellow. After confirming that there was no mistake, Qin Haodong nodded with satisfaction. "Yes, it's you. You haven't answered my question yet. You don't know me, do you? How do you know my name?" "Oh, I don't know you, but my daughter likes your songs very much." "Your daughter? How old are you? You have a daughter?" Ouyang Shanshan asked in surprise. Qin Haodong was too lazy to explain after being asked so many questions. He said directly, "She's my goddaughter." "Oh." Ouyang Shanshan nodded. "Well, do you have an autograph? Can you give me one?" Qin Haodong said. The autograph that he promised the little fellow hadn't been fulfilled yet. Today he met the real person, so he couldn't let it go. "No, I was kidnapped, not attending a fan meeting. How could I have that thing with me?" Ouyang Shanshan said, "If you like, I can take a photo with you." No, it's my daughter who wants it." Qin Haodong was a little embarrassed. Although the mobile phone could take photos, there was no way to sign. "You are so kind to your daughter," Ouyang Shanshan said. "In fact, in addition to photos, other things can also be signed." "Yes, wait for me. I'll be back soon," Qin Haodong said, turned around and ran out. At this time, the people of the Lin family had already fallen asleep. Damao and Ermao immediately jumped up alertly when they heard the noise. After seeing that it was him, they rubbed against each other intimately and ran back to sleep. Qin Haodong sneaked into the little fellow's room, stuffed all the things she usually used into a bag, and then returned to his home. "Can I trouble you to give me an autograph?" Chapter 61. It took Ouyang Shanshan more than half an hour to sign all the things that Qin Haodong had brought. She had set a record today. It was the first time that she had signed a bottle and a diaper after being famous for so many years. "Well, thank you. Now the little girl will be satisfied," Qin Haodong said happily. Looking at his satisfied expression, Ouyang Shanshan couldn't help saying again, "You are so good to your daughter." "Of course I love my child." Ouyang Shanshan's expression changed. She sat in the chair with a lost face and said, "Not necessarily. My father is not like that." "Why? Is your father not good to you?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. Ouyang Shanshan seemed to be touched. She said faintly, "As long as I can remember, my father was a drunkard and a gambling addict. Every day, he went out and lost all the money at home and came home drunk. Then he beat my mother and me. If she hadn't been abused by him for so many years, my mother wouldn't have died so early. Even now, he still hasn't changed his bad habits. He comes to me from time to time to ask for money. So I'm really jealous to see that you, her godfather, are so good to your daughter." Qin Haodong didn't expect that a big star would have such a miserable childhood. He said, "Although your father is a bit unreliable, it's better than me, who doesn't even know who my parents are. You know that your father is a drunkard, but I've been an orphan since I was a child. I don't even know what my father is like." After that, he also felt that the topic was a little heavy. He said, "Let's not talk about unhappy things. What happened to you tonight? Don't big stars like you go out with bodyguards? Why were you kidnapped?" Ouyang Shanshan said, "The two people who kidnapped me are my bodyguards." Qin Haodong was stunned and said, "That's too unreliable. How could you kidnap your employer? Where did you find such excellent bodyguards?" Ouyang Shanshan sighed and said, "I'm an artist of Duku Culture and Media Company. The bodyguards are also arranged for me by the company. They nominally protect my safety, but in fact, they completely obey the orders of the company." Qin Haodong became more and more confused. He asked, "What do you mean? Did your company ask them to kidnap you?" "It's like this." Ouyang Shanshan nodded and said, "You've probably heard about the film and television industry. It's a mess. Our company's boss is called Lu Huaqiang. Although he is a strong person, he didn't force me to do anything in the past when he saw that I could earn money for the company. But this time, in order to curry favor with a rich young master, he forced me to go to bed with him. All these years I've always been clean, so of course I won't agree to such an unreasonable request. Later Lu Huaqiang threatened me. If I didn't agree, he would cancel the concert in Jiangnan and hide me in the future. He wouldn't give me any chance to appear in public." Qin Haodong nodded secretly. If other entertainers in the entertainment circle had said this, he would have scoffed at them and thought they were acting. However, he could see that Ouyang Shanshan's virginity was strong and pure. She was indeed not the kind of entertainer who led a messy life. It was extremely rare to be able to remain unstained in the big dye vat that was showbiz. Ouyang Shanshan continued, "Even so, I didn't agree. When I signed the contract with the company, I made it clear that I would not accept any arrangement that had nothing to do with work." Later, Lu Huaqiang became angry and directly ordered 2 bodyguards to tie me up and send me to the rich young master. I was desperate at that time. I didn't expect to meet you later. Qin Haodong thought to himself that these big stars looked bright and enviable on the surface, but in fact, they knew that they were suffering and their lives were not satisfactory. He asked, "What are you going to do? Call the police?" With Lu Huaqiang's strength and connections, it's useless to call the police. Ouyang Shanshan said with a sad face, "I signed a contract with Duku Company for 5 years. Now it's only less than 2 years. It's impossible to terminate the contract. I can only take one step at a time. If that day comes, I might as well commit suicide." Looking at her determined expression, Qin Haodong didn't want such a beautiful woman to die. Moreover, she was his daughter's idol. He said, Are the things that Lu Huaqiang asked you to do not be presentable in public? Of course. Although I'm an artist of the company, I'm not a prostitute of the company. I work hard to make money with my own ability. He has no reason to ask me to do this kind of thing. That's easy. You can find a few strong bodyguards to guard yourself so he can't do anything to you. I guess a big star like you is rich. It's not a problem to hire a few bodyguards, right? Ouyang Shanshan said, I have money, but the problem is that no security company or bodyguard dares to offend Lu Huaqiang. Even if they do, I'm afraid they will still kidnap me and send me to others. Qin Haodong said, that's easy. I've just set up a security company. I can provide you with bodyguards. I can guarantee that the bodyguards of our company are absolutely safe and reliable. Even if you face the king, they can guarantee your safety. Really? Aren't you afraid of Lu Huaqiang? Ouyang Shanshan asked incredulously. Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, I've never heard of the person you're talking about. Even if he's a bit powerful, he's just an ant in my eyes. Great. Ouyang Shanshan looked happy. I'll use your company's bodyguards. Tell me, how much do you need? Qin Haodong touched his nose and said, my security company has just been prepared and hasn't been officially established yet. Well, I'll discuss it tomorrow and give you an accurate answer. Before that, you can live here with peace of mind. There won't be any danger. After Saber and others went to protect Lin Momo, the preparation of the security company was completely handed over to Nailan Wushuang. He hadn't asked about it in the past few days, so he didn't know how it was going. Ouyang Shanshan's face was full of joy. During this period of time, she had been living in fear, and now she finally saw hope. When the matter was almost settled, both of them went back to their rooms to rest. Because they slept too late, Ouyang Shanshan was still sleeping when Qin Haodong got up the next day. He didn't disturb Ouyang Shanshan. He put all the things signed by the little fellow into the bag, and then carried them into the Lin's villa. When the little fellow saw Qin Haodong, she immediately threw herself into his arms, put her arms around his neck and asked, Papa, where did you go yesterday? Why didn't you come back to play with me? Papa went to prepare a gift for me, Qin Haodong said with a smile. Really? What's the gift? The little fellow suddenly became interested. Tang Tang, what gift do you want most? I want the autograph photo of the big star, Ouyang Shanshan, so that Wang Xiaoming can also envy me. Autographed photo? But I have other things. Qin Haodong said as he put the little fellow on the ground. Then he opened the bag and poured out the school bag, pencil box, notebook, milk bottle and diapers. Look, these are the autographs of the big star Ouyang Shanshan. Seeing that all her things were signed by her idol, the little fellow jumped with joy and shouted excitedly, Papa, you're great. I love you. Then she shouted excitedly, Mama, Mama. Come and see, I have a lot of autographs of big stars. Lin Momo came over and looked at the things on the ground. Then she quietly pulled Qin Haodong aside and whispered, I know you want to make me happy, but it's wrong to lie to a child. When did I lie to you? Qin Haodong said in surprise. No, you even signed the diapers. You must have done it yourself, didn't you? In Lin Momo's opinion, these autographs must have been signed by Qin Haodong pretending to be Ouyang Shanshan. Otherwise, it would be good enough for a big star to sign her name. How could she sign so many, let alone sign the diapers? I knew you would say that. Qin Haodong took out his mobile phone from his pocket, found a video file, and pressed the play button. Hello Tang Tang, I'm Ouyang Shanshan. I wish you good health, happiness and more beautiful. On the screen, Ouyang Shanshan took Tang Tang's little school bag and solemnly signed her name on it. How about it? Do you think it's true? Qin Haodong said proudly. He had prepared this video for a long time. He had signed so many names at once. Maybe some children didn't believe it at all, so he asked Ouyang Shanshan to record such a video so that the little fellow could show it to the children. Now he showed it to Lin Momo first. It's true. Where did you find the big star Ouyang Shanshan? Lin Momo asked in surprise. My friend helped me contact her. Qin Haodong didn't dare to say that the big star was sleeping in his house. They were innocent, and it would be bad if Lin Momo misunderstood. The reason why he didn't ask Ouyang Shanshan to meet the little fellow was that he thought it was appropriate to stop chasing stars. It was too bad for the little fellow's growth. No, why does the decoration of the living room look a bit like yours? Lin Momo asked doubtfully. Well, in fact, the decoration of many houses is quite similar. My friend's house is also decorated like this. Qin Haodong tried to explain. Fortunately, the little fellow ran over at this time. Papa! Papa, show me. Qin Haodong squatted down and played the video on the mobile phone to the little fellow again. Great! Great! I not only have signed photos but also videos. Let's see how Wang Xiaoming shows off to me. The little fellow spun happily on the ground. After breakfast, Qin Haodong said to Lin Momo, I'm going out to do something today, so I won't go to work. Lin Momo rolled her eyes at him and said, You're really unreliable. You're absent more than you go to work. Be careful or I'll deduct your salary. Qin Haodong said with a smile, Deduct it. Anyway, I rely on my face to make a living. It doesn't matter if I don't pay you or not. After sending Lin Momo and the little fellow away, Qin Haodong turned back to his home. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Nalan Wushuang's Hummer parked in the yard. Speak of the devil and he will appear. He was just about to look for her, and this last delivered herself to his door. Qin Haodong entered the door thinking. As soon as he entered the house, he saw Nalan Wushuang and Ouyang Shanshan looking at each other. Nalan Wushuang asked, Who are you? Why do you live here and wear his clothes? Ouyang Shanshan didn't show weakness. Who are you? Who let you in? It's none of your business who I wear. Chapter 62. Qin Haodong, who is she? Why does she live in your house? Nalan Wushuang came to Qin Haodong early in the morning to discuss the security company. She didn't expect to see Qin Haodong when she entered the door. Instead, she saw a beautiful woman wearing his clothes. She suddenly felt inexplicable anger in her heart. Don't get me wrong. She is a client. Before Qin Haodong finished, Nalan Wushuang said angrily, Qin Haodong, how dare you spend money on such a shady woman? How dare you say that she is a client? It seems that this is not the first time. Who are you calling shady? I think you're the one who's shady. Ouyang Shanshan was suddenly unhappy. Okay, stop quarreling. Qin Haodong roared, and the two women immediately quieted down. Gave the breakfast he brought back to Ouyang Shanshan and asked her to eat in the dining room. Then he took Nalan Wushuang to the living room. You are getting more and more outrageous. How dare you find such a woman? Nalan Wushuang sat on the sofa, feeling more and more wronged as she thought about it. This guy didn't pursue a beautiful woman like her, but went to find such a woman who spent money. Listen to me. It's not what you think. Qin Haodong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Tell me what the hell is going on? Nalan Wushuang asked angrily. Don't you think she looks familiar? Qin Haodong was somewhat curious. He didn't chase after stars, but didn't the young lady of the Nalan family know Ouyang Shanshan? Although Nalan Wushuang didn't chase after stars, she also knew Ouyang Shanshan. But when she suddenly saw a woman in Qin Haodong's house wearing only his shirt, she didn't think about it seriously in a hurry. Now after hearing Qin Haodong's words, she calmed down and said with a puzzled face, She is a little familiar. She seems to be a little like the big star Ouyang Shanshan. Where did you find her? The price is not cheap, right? Qin Haodong was speechless. Why did this girl think that he was spending money to find a woman? What do you mean a bit similar? She is Ouyang Shanshan. Qin Haodong told Nalan Wushuang about saving Ouyang Shanshan last night and finally said, The superstar is in urgent need of a loyal and reliable bodyguard. I'm going to make her the first client of our security company. It's this client. Nalan Wushuang looked embarrassed, knowing that she had misunderstood Qin Haodong. What else do you think? Qin Haodong was annoyed. After his rebirth he was still a virgin. How could he be mistaken as a whoremaster? I'm sorry. Nalan Wushuang said with embarrassment. Forget it, let's get down to business. Otherwise I was going to look for you. How's the security company going? I came here today to discuss this matter with you. Nalan Wushuang said. I've been running around the security company these days. I've made some progress, but there are some important things I need to discuss with you. Tell me, I'm listening. Qin Haodong knew nothing about running a company. The reason why he wanted to set up this security company was to have a better power to protect Lin Momo and the little fellow. P. If you want to open a security company, you must first choose a suitable location. It can't be too far from the city, and it must be large enough. I've been running around a lot these days and finally found a suitable location. It's a martial arts school. Because of poor management, it's going to be sold. It has all the necessary office space and training facilities. It's perfect for a security company. P. Well, if you think it's good, let's set it here. In terms of foresight, Qin Haodong trusted Nalan Wushuang very much. P. Well, that's the first question. Let's talk about the next one. Nalan Wushuang said, this martial arts school wants 60 million yuan. I've talked with them several times and finally reduced it to 55 million yuan. There's no room for further reduction. Qin Haodong grinned. He only had 20 million yuan in total, and now there were only tens of thousands of yuan left in his pocket. He couldn't get any more money to invest unless he asked Lin Momo for money, but he didn't want to do that. Nalan Wushuang continued, 55 million yuan is only the initial investment for the site. After the establishment of the company, we need to buy vehicles and weapons, improve training and living facilities. It's expected that we will continue to invest about 10 million yuan. Plus about 5 million yuan of working capital. The total investment will be 70 million yuan. So much. But I don't have so much money for the time being. How about we find a cheaper place? A too remote place is not conducive to the future development of the company, and a small area can't expand the scale of the security company. Overall, this is the most suitable place. But I don't have so much money. Nalan Wushuang seemed to have known that Qin Haodong didn't have enough money. She said, it's not a problem of money. I can invest. You want to invest? Qin Haodong was somewhat surprised. Yes, I'm very optimistic about your company. I'll invest 50 million yuan and take 40% of the company's shares. What do you think? If you agree, we can sign a cooperation agreement now, and then I'll buy the land. 50 million yuan? 40% of the shares? Qin Haodong was very surprised. Why is it too much? I can take 30%. No, I don't mean that. Qin Haodong stared at Nalan Wushuang and said, your math was not taught by a teacher, was it? We invested a total of 70 million yuan to open this company. You pay 50 million yuan and take 40% of the shares. Isn't that a big loss? Nalan Wushuang gave him a hard look and said, your math was taught by a teacher. I graduated from the Department of Finance of Jiangnan University. The proportion of shares is also accurately calculated. But your calculations aren't right either. There's nothing wrong. The reason why I'm optimistic about this security company is entirely because of your existence. Unlike other security companies, our biggest highlight is that our employees are all elite and loyal. And all of this comes from your medical skills. It's because you cured the divine mercenaries and those special forces who retired because of injuries that you can provide high-quality security forces for our company. From this point of view, your medical skills are equivalent to an investment of 50 million yuan. Plus your 20 million yuan, the total investment can be calculated as 70 million yuan. In this way, 40% of the shares is just right. And with your medical skills as a guarantee, the injured security guards of our company will be completely free of charge in the future. In this way, I'm taking advantage of you. You can calculate it like this. Qin Haodong thought about it and found that Nalan Wushuang's words made sense. It was because of his existence that this security company could be different. Well, I agree with your cooperation plan, but I have a requirement. That is, after the company is established, it will be completely managed by you. Nalan Wushuang stared at him and said, why hasn't the company been established yet? Are you going to be a hands-off boss? I'm just a little doctor. I don't know anything about management, so it's best for you to do it. Qin Haodong said with a smile, but I'm not a hands-off boss. I'm also under your management. If you need anything, I'll be there at any time. That's more like it. Nalan Wushuang said, the site is ready and the funds are settled. I'll go to the Industrial and Commercial Administration Department to register right away. You need to give the company a name. Me? Qin Haodong asked. Of course, you're the major shareholder. Of course you name it. Well, let me think about it. Qin Haodong held his chin and turned around 3 times on the ground. Suddenly, he patted his thigh and said, "Let's call it Daddy's Security Company." Ahem, ahem, ahem. Nailin Wushuang had just taken a sip of water, and her face turned red. Finally, Qin Haodong massaged her back a few times, and she came to herself. "P, what's wrong? Are you scared by my domineering name?" Qin Haodong said proudly. "P, domineering my ass." Nailin Wushuang cried. "Other security companies have names like Thunder God, Blackwater, Divine Shield, and Sharp Sword. It sounds domineering and loud. What the hell do you mean by Daddy Security? P, you don't understand. The name Daddy Security implies that our company's security force can give customers the same care as a daddy. It's both loud and meaningful. I'm beginning to admire myself for coming up with such a good name." Qin Haodong's original intention in setting up this security company was to protect his daughter, so he thought of naming it after Daddy Security. Nailin Wushuang thought for a moment and said helplessly, "Well, you're a major shareholder anyway. It's up to you." Qin Haodong said, "Now that the name has been decided, let's discuss the charging standard. Our company's first customer is already waiting there." Nailin Wushuang said, "I already have a preliminary idea about this. I'm going to divide the company's security guards into 9 levels according to the level of warriors, and then charge them according to the level. The first level is the lowest, and the 9th level is the highest." Well, that's a good idea. Qin Haodong said, "How much is the price?" He was just a student before and had never been a bodyguard. Naturally, he couldn't afford a bodyguard, so he didn't know the price of the bodyguard market. The price of a first-level bodyguard is 10,000 yuan a month, a second-level bodyguard is 100,000 yuan, a third-level bodyguard is 200,000 yuan, and so on. The highest 9th-level bodyguard is 800,000 yuan. Though of course the price and the level of the bodyguard are not fixed. The company will adjust it every month according to the performance of the bodyguard. For the time being, the highest of the 6 people in the Divine Mercenaries is level 9, and the Soldier King Chanfuguwei is level 8. The others will be evaluated according to their personal conditions. When our security company has a firm foothold in the south of the Yangtze River, the price will be adjusted upward. So expensive? Qin Haodong was speechless. He didn't expect that being a bodyguard could make so much money. Nailin Wushuang said, "The richer people are, the more afraid they are of death. No matter how much money they have, it's useless when they are dead, so they are willing to spend money on security." Alright then, I'll go talk to Ouyang Shanshan and see what level of bodyguard she'll hire. Qin Haodong stood up and was about to leave. Nailin Wushuang reached out and grabbed him. "Wait a minute, I haven't finished yet." What else?" I'm going to set up a super-level bodyguard in addition to the first-level to 9th-level bodyguards. After Nailin Wushuang finished speaking, she looked at him charmingly. Qin Haodong felt something was wrong and cried, "You're not thinking about me, are you? I'm a doctor. I don't have time to be a bodyguard. I've said that I'll manage the company, and you have to listen to my arrangements." Nailin Wushuang said, "You're the trump card of the company. A super-level bodyguard. The price is 1 million yuan not every month but every hour." Chapter 63. Qin Haodong opened his mouth wide and said, 1 million for an hour? Isn't that too high? Nailin Wuxia said, "It's not high. The trump card of the company naturally has a trump card price." Alright then, I agree. Qin Haodong agreed. Although there were many rich people in the south of the Yangtze River, few of them could afford such a high price. When the discussion was almost over, Ouyang Shanshan had also finished her breakfast. Under Qin Haodong's introduction, Ouyang Shanshan and Nailin Wushuang sat together again. But their identities had changed dramatically. One was the general manager of Daddy Security Company, and the other was the big star Ouyang Shanshan, the first client of the company. It was agreed that Nailin Wushuang would be responsible for the company's affairs, so Qin Haodong would no longer participate. Half an hour later, Nailin Wushuang signed the first cooperation agreement with Ouyang Shanshan on behalf of Daddy Security Company. Ouyang Shanshan paid a down payment of 2 million yuan to Daddy Security Company, and Daddy Security Company would provide Ouyang Shanshan with an 8th-grade bodyguard and 4 7th-grade bodyguards. Shortly after the agreement was reached, An army green jeep arrived at Qin Haodong's house. 5 people got off the car, led by Chun Fugui, the Soldier King. Although the other 4 people were not very tall, they were full of battle experience. After seeing the 5 people, Ouyang Shanshan nodded with satisfaction. Although she didn't know martial arts, she could see that these people were different from the previous bodyguards. Qin Haodong said, "You are the first client of our company and my daughter's idol. On behalf of the company, I will give you a big gift for free to help you solve the current trouble." Qin Haodong was very fond of this pure female star. After all, she had helped the little fellow sign so many words, so he decided to help her. Solve the trouble? What do you mean? Ouyang Shanshan asked. Take me to see your company's boss Lu Huaqiang and leave the rest to me. Can this work? Lu Huaqiang's power is very great. Ouyang Shanshan didn't say the rest of the words. Qin Haodong saved her, so she didn't want to cause trouble for Qin Haodong. She was satisfied to be able to ensure her own safety. It's alright, you don't have to worry about that. Qin Haodong said with a smile. Anyway, I want Lu to make you more popular in the future. If he really bans you, how are you going to pay the bodyguard fee of our company? We will lose a big client then. Thank you. Ouyang Shanshan knew that Qin Haodong really wanted to help her. He just didn't want her to have any psychological burden. The Jiangnan branch of Duke Film and Culture Company. Lu Huaqiang was pointing at the noses of the 2 bodyguards and cursing. Are you King idiots? Ouyang Shanshan was actually snatched away by a person. Instead of raising you guys, I might as well raise a dog. The 2 people in front of him were the 2 bodyguards who kidnapped Ouyang Shanshan last night. At this time, they lowered their heads and did not dare to make a sound after being scolded. What the *ck are you still standing here for? Hurry up and find her. If you can't find Ouyang Shanshan before dark, all of you will jump into the river. Lu Huaqiang was indeed very angry. That young master had taken a fancy to Ouyang Shanshan, who was under his company, and specifically asked her to come and serve him. Although Ouyang Shanshan was the top artist of their company, he couldn't afford to offend that person. Otherwise, he would have to close down the company. He had no choice but to discuss with Ouyang Shanshan. However, the girl was so stubborn that no matter how he discussed, it wouldn't work. In the end, he was so anxious that he asked the bodyguards to tie up Ouyang Shanshan and send her to the young master. Unexpectedly, the 2 idiots lost her on the way. The young master was very angry when he didn't see Ouyang Shanshan for a long time. He thought that Lu Huaqiang was playing with him. He had already said that if he didn't see Ouyang Shanshan before dark, Duku Film and Culture Company would be waiting to close down. The 2 bodyguards answered and turned to go out. At this time the door was kicked open with a bang. Don't bother. We're here. It was Qin Haodong who came in. Nailan Wushuang and Ouyang Shanshan were next to him, followed by Chun Fugui and 4 other bodyguards. After seeing Ouyang Shanshan, Lu Huaqiang's eyes lit up. He picked up a walkie-talkie on the table and shouted, "Bring the guys and come here." It had to be said that his men were quite efficient. As soon as he put the walkie-talkie on the table, there was a noisy sound of footsteps outside the door. Then, more than a dozen bodyguards in black rushed in and surrounded Qin Haodong and his companions. The bodyguard with a flat top pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted, "Boss, it's that little white face who took her away." Lu Huaqiang stood up from behind the boss's desk and stepped in front of Qin Haodong. He said with a sneer, "Little white face, you're really capable. You even dare to touch my people." After that, he turned to look at Ouyang Shanshan and said, "Bitch, it seems that I really gave you face before. How dare you run away? Don't come back if you have the ability. Don't think that you're a star because someone is supporting you. You're nothing without my company. I can make you popular, but I can also make you worthless." The more he said, the more proud he became. It seemed that he had completely controlled the situation. He pointed at Qin Haodong and shouted to his subordinates, "This guy kidnapped our company's artist. Teach him a good lesson, then tie him up and send him to the Public Security Bureau." Fi's bodyguards answered and rushed towards Qin Haodong while waving their weapons. Chun Fugui shouted and led his 4 bodyguards to meet them. Although they were unarmed, their skills were much better than Lu Huaqiang's men. After the fight, it was a completely one-sided situation. The bodyguards were beaten to the point of crying and crawling on the ground. In less than 2 minutes, Chun Fugui finished the fight. More than a dozen people called by Lu Huaqiang were lying on the ground, wailing. Some of them couldn't get up, and some didn't dare to get up at all. Lu Huaqiang turned pale with fright. He didn't expect that the 5 people brought by Qin Haodong, who looked ordinary, could beat his tall and strong men like dogs. Boss, what about him? Chun Fugui pointed at Lu Huaqiang and asked. Qin Haodong smiled slightly and said, "This guy's words are too smelly. Help him wash his mouth." Got it, boss. Qin Fugui agreed and strode towards Lu Huaqiang. Don't mess around. I'm telling you. Lu Huaqiang originally wanted to say a few harsh words, but Chun Fugui didn't give him the chance at all. He kicked him to the ground and slapped his face a dozen times in a row. The slaps were loud. Seeing that it was about time, Qin Haodong waved his hand and Chun Fugui retreated to the side. Lu Huaqiang got up from the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood mixed with his teeth. He pointed at Qin Haodong and scolded, "Kid, just you wait. I'll make sure you can't survive in Jiangnan. It seems that you're still not convinced." Qin Haodong kicked him over, then took out a small black pill from his pocket, pinched his mouth and stuffed it into his mouth. Lu Huaqiang knew that the small pill was definitely not something good. He wanted to spit it out, but it was too late. What did you give me?" he asked in a panic. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "It's nothing. I saw that you were too hot-tempered, so I gave it to you. You'll know what it means to want to die later." Lu Huaqiang wanted to say something, but he suddenly felt a sharp pain. The pain seemed to come from the depths of his soul. It was 1,000 times more painful than the big slap Chun Fugui had just given him. The pain was getting stronger and stronger. It made him roll around on the ground and wail. How is it? Does it feel good?" Qin Haodong squatted down and asked. I'm convinced. I'm really convinced. Please spare me. Let me go." Lu Huaqiang was in so much pain that he was covered in tears and snot. He was no longer as tough as before. The bodyguards on the ground saw his miserable appearance, but none of them dared to help him. On the contrary, they all secretly stayed away from Qin Haodong, afraid that he would give them the same pill. So fast. It's not even a minute. You have to hold on for at least half an hour. Hearing that there was still half an hour left, Lu Huaqiang was about to go crazy. He couldn't bear the pain for another second. He hugged Qin Haodong's calf and said, "Father, dear father, please spare me. I'll do whatever you want me to do in the future. Do you still want to kidnap Ouyang Shanshan and give her away?" No, I won't dare to do it again. I won't hurt my wife even if I have to give her away." Then do you still want to ban her?" No, never. The company will try its best to promote her in the future. You're so boring. You have no backbone at all. But since you're sincere, I'll spare you this time." After saying that, Qin Haodong raised his hand and poked him a few times. The bone-piercing pain immediately disappeared, which was quite amazing. Lu Huaqiang lay on the ground and didn't move. He breathed heavily. The feeling just now was so terrifying. It was 10 times worse than death. It would be a nightmare for him for the rest of his life. Get up. I still have something to tell you. Qin Haodong kicked him on the butt. Just tell me what you want. Lu Huaqiang was afraid of Qin Haodong now. He sat up from the ground and looked very respectful. Do you still remember what you said just now?" "Yes. I remember." Lu Huaqiang promised again and again, but he secretly thought, "When I turn over, I'll definitely teach you and this bitch a lesson. It doesn't matter if you forget." Qin Haodong said with a smile, "The pill I just gave you is called the elixir of God. It means that as long as the medicine takes effect, even the gods can't save you. It's a good thing. Once you take it, it will be effective for a lifetime." Lu Huaqiang turned pale with fright. His whole body trembled as he begged, "Please let me go. I won't do it again. I really won't do it again. From now on I will be your dog. I will bite whoever you want me to bite. This pill will take effect once a month for 7 days. It's much stronger than a woman's period." Qin Haodong patted Lu Huaqiang's pale cheek and said, "But don't be afraid. I have the antidote in my hand. As long as you take one, it won't take effect for a month. I'll give the antidote to Ouyang Shanshan. You can get one from her every month." Ouyang Shanshan was moved. She knew that Qin Haodong was helping her completely avoid future troubles. Looking at Lu Huaqiang's flickering eyes, Qin Haodong added, I advise you to be honest. Don't have any wicked ideas. This medicine is developed by me. No one can cure it. And don't think about taking all the antidotes from Ouyang Shanshan at one time, because I only give her 20 pills at a time. If you take them away, there will be no more. I don't dare. I definitely don't dare. Lu Huaqiang did have the idea of taking all the antidotes at one time, but now he immediately dispelled it and didn't dare to think about it. The matter had been dealt with. Qin Haodong left Chan Fugui and the other 4 to Ouyang Shanshan and turned to leave with Nailan Wushuang. Lu Huaqiang cried with a complicated look, Boss, don't go. Qin Haodong frowned and asked, Is there anything else? Chapter 64. To tell you the truth, I didn't want to do it this time. Shanshan is our company's cash cow. I don't want to send her out to accompany others unless it's a last resort. What Lu Huaqiang said was true. He was also very lascivious. He had slept with a lot of actresses over the years, but he had never thought about Ouyang Shanshan. After all, there were plenty of women, and he didn't want to affect his wallet because of this. Qin Haodong didn't speak, just listened quietly, knowing that he must have more. Lu Huaqiang continued, This time, someone took a fancy to Shanshan and asked her to accompany him. I couldn't afford to offend that person, so I had to do this. If I didn't do this, the company would have to close down. Qin Haodong's face became cold and said, You've said so much to me. Do you mean to send Ouyang Shanshan there? No, I didn't mean that. Lu Huaqiang quickly explained. After all, the company was not as important as his life. He said, I won't do it, but I'm afraid that person will come to take her away. I can't resist him at all. The reason why he said this was that he was afraid that if Ouyang Shanshan was taken away, he would lose his life. So lawless. Who is the person you are talking about? Qin Haodong was very curious that someone could be so overbearing in the south of the Yangtze River. Lu Huaqiang hesitated for a moment, and finally said, He is Nailan Wufeng, the eldest young master of the Nailan family. Do you know the boss of the Nailan family? We can't afford to offend him at all. Nailan Wufeng? Qin Haodong turned to look at Nailan Wushuang with a playful face. Nailan Wushuang's face suddenly became gloomy. She used to hear that her cousin used the power of the Nailan family to do whatever he wanted. She didn't expect to see it today. This time there was another sound of footsteps outside, and an arrogant voice cried, I say, Lu, you haven't sent me a woman yet. Do you want to die? Soon as the voice fell, an arrogant young man came in, followed by 7 or 8 bodyguards. It was Nailan Wufeng, the eldest young master of the Nailan family. Different from what he saw in Nailan Jie's house a few days ago. Nailan Wufeng was like a different person today, arrogant and insufferably arrogant. It seemed that he was completely pretending in front of Nailan Jie. After entering the door, he saw Ouyang Shanshan at first glance, and his eyes immediately fixed on her, automatically ignoring everyone else. Lu Huaqiang, are you King tired of living? Isn't this woman right here? She even said that she ran away. Does she not put our Nailan family in her eyes? Lu Huaqiang said with a bitter face, Young Master Nailan, it's really not what you think. Then he looked at Qin Haodong with embarrassment. He couldn't afford to offend Nailan Wufeng, let alone this young man. I want a woman from you, why are you looking at other people? Nailan Wufeng glared at Lu Huaqiang, only to find that his cheeks were red and swollen, and he was in a mess. The bodyguards hiding beside him were also bruised and swollen. Then he finally felt something was wrong. He turned his head and saw Qin Haodong and Nailan Wushuang next to him. Cousin. Nailan Wufeng didn't expect to meet Nailan Wushuang here. He could ignore others, but he couldn't afford to offend this cousin. Her status in the Nailan family was much higher than his. Nailan Wushuang said with a gloomy face, Brother Tang, you are so powerful. You even came out to steal a woman in the name of the Nailan family. It seems that I have to go to Grandpa to praise you. Don't. Nailan Wufeng trembled with fear. He was most afraid of the Nailan family's old man Nailan Jie. If his grandpa, who hated evil, knew that he was fooling around with a star outside, he would break his legs. P Wushuang, in fact I was joking with Boss Lu. There is no such thing. Then he turned to Lu Huaqiang and said, is that right, Boss Lu? Pia? Lu Huaqiang didn't expect that young Master Nalan, who was so arrogant just now, would admit defeat in an instant. He was confused for a moment and didn't know what was going on. When he came to himself, he quickly nodded and said, yes, young Master Nalan likes to joke with me. He was so happy that he didn't have to be caught in a dilemma between Nalan Wufing and Qin Haodong. But he was curious about the background of this young man. His bodyguards were all tough, and any random woman could make Nalan Wufing cower in seconds. Nalan Wushuang's face softened a little and she said, Brother Tang, Shanshan is my good sister now. If I know that you have bad ideas about her, I won't spare you. No. Definitely not. I was just joking. Miss Ouyang is your good friend, so she is my sister. I will be the first to disagree with anyone who dares to bully her. Nalan Wufing patted his chest with a face full of righteousness. Then he turned to Lu Huaqiang and said, did you hear that? This is my sister's good friend. Take care of her in the future. If Miss Ouyang is wronged, I will teach you a lesson. Lu Huaqiang looked bitter and thought, why don't you be an actor with such good acting skills? Even the best actor is not as good as you. Now his life was in Ouyang Shanshan's hands. He would be grateful if she didn't make trouble for him. After that, Nalan Wufing said, Wushuang, I suddenly remembered that I have something urgent to do. I have to go. After that, he left with his bodyguards as if he was fleeing. Lu Huaqiang breathed a sigh of relief. Finally it was over. It seemed that even Nalan Wufing would not dare to make trouble for him in the future. At the same time, his resentment towards Qin Haodong disappeared. He could not afford to offend such a young man who could order Miss Nalan at will. After everything was done, Nalan Wushuang took Qin Haodong to the martial arts school. Nalan Wushuang said, the school occupied a large area. The office building, staff dormitory, training ground and training equipment were all ready-made. It was perfect for a security company. Seeing that Qin Haodong was also satisfied, Nalan Wushuang signed a sales contract with the person in charge of the martial arts school. From then on, it belonged to Daddy's security company. After a busy day, he drove to the kindergarten to pick up the little fellow from school in the evening. After picking up the little fellow, Qin Haodong was about to leave. Teacher Wang Jiani said, Mr. Qin, please wait a moment. I have something to tell you. Oh, what's the matter? Qin Haodong looked at Wang Jiani. Not only was this girl beautiful, but she also gave people a very quiet feeling. Wang Jiani said, here's the thing. Jiangnan City is holding a singing competition for babies with golden voices. I think Tang Tang is good at singing. She can participate in it. No matter what the final result is, it will be very good for the growth of children. The little fellow also put her arms around Qin Haodong's neck and said, Papa, I want to sing and participate in the competition. Qin Haodong said, okay, I'll sign up for her. From the bottom of his heart, he really wanted the little fellow to participate in more activities and grow up happily. Well, I'll sign up for her later. On Sunday morning, that is, the day after tomorrow, you can take her to the Jiangnan Art Museum to participate in the competition at 9 o'clock. I'll be there then. Qin Haodong calculated and found that time flew. In the blink of an eye, it was Friday again. He said goodbye to Wang Jiani and walked out of the kindergarten with the little fellow. As soon as he walked out of the door, he saw Lin Momo coming. Mama, I'm going to participate in the singing competition. The little fellow cried out happily. Qin Haodong told Lin Momo about the little fellow's registration for the singing competition. Lin Momo said, it's good to participate in more activities and I support it. But the group doesn't rest this weekend, so I can't take her to the competition. It doesn't matter. You do your thing. I'll take her. Qin Haodong asked again. What's up recently? Why are you so busy that you don't even rest on the weekend? Nominally, he was an employee of Lin's group, but he had only worked half a day so he didn't know the situation of the group. Lin Momo got in the car with the little fellow in her arms and then said to Qin Haodong, the core industry of Lin's group is in jewelry. Recently, I've started to organize a large raw jade gemstone exhibition. Today is the first day of the exhibition, and it just started in the morning. This raw jade gemstone exhibition is the biggest event I've organized since I became the president. It's very important for me, so I must do my best. Chin Haodong said, oh, well, you do your thing, and I'll take care of the little fellow. The next day, although it was Saturday, Lin Momo still went to work as usual. Since the group didn't rest, Chin Haodong was now nominally an employee of the group. Naturally, he couldn't rest at home, so he went with them. Papa, Mama, I want to go to work with you too. The little fellow jumped and shouted. Chin Haodong said, it's adults' business to go to work. You're still a child. Play with Damao and Ermao at home. There were several nannies at home, so he didn't worry that the little fellow would be alone. The little fellow pouted and said nothing, because Lin Momo never took her to work in the past. Unexpectedly, Lin Momo said uncharacteristically, take Tang Tang with you. Aren't you very busy? Chin Haodong asked in surprise. Don't I have you? But I'm also very busy. According to Chin Haodong's guess, there would be a lot of patients after work today. Take me with you. You'll be busier without me. Lin Momo said meaningfully. Chin Haodong didn't react for a while, not knowing what it meant. Great, Papa, I want to go to work with you too. The little fellow cried, holding his thigh. Well, let's go together. Chin Haodong was a little reluctant to leave the little fellow at home. Since Lin Momo had no objection, he took her with him. When they arrived at the Lin's group building, Chin Haodong separated from Lin Momo and took the little fellow to the infirmary. As soon as he entered the door, Zhang Zhizhi shouted, Ancestor, you're here. If you didn't come, the door of our infirmary would be broken by those women. Then he suddenly saw the little fellow in Chin Haodong's arms and asked in surprise, Brother, where did you steal such a lovely child? Uncle, I didn't steal her. This is my papa. The little fellow said discontentedly. Is this really your daughter? Zhang Zhizhi looked at Chin Haodong incredulously. Of course it's true. Chin Haodong didn't bother to explain the little fellow's question, so he agreed directly. He glanced at his desk, which was filled with all kinds of snacks, flowers, and plants. He asked in surprise, Brother Zhang, what's going on? Where did so many things come from? You're right. The beauties in the company have been crazy these days. They come here every day to find you, sending flowers and food. Only a part of them is on the desk, and I stuffed many of them into the cabinet. Otherwise, I couldn't put them all. Chin Haodong smiled. There was such a thing. Since there were people sending food, he would let the little fellow take advantage of it. He sat at the desk with Tang Tang in his arms and began to attack the snacks on the table. Just then, a woman at the door asked, Is Dr. Chin here? Chapter 65. It was a young woman in her 20s who came in. She was good-looking and had a particularly hot figure. It could be seen that she had dressed up carefully today. She was wearing a low-cut t-shirt and tight jeans. She looked very sexy and her cleavage was bottomless. After seeing this woman, Zhang Zhizhi couldn't help but push up the glasses on the bridge and fiercely swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Oh, what's wrong with you? Chin Haodong asked. The woman had a coquettish face when she came in, but when she saw the little fellow in Chin Haodong's arms, she was shocked. She didn't answer Chin Haodong's question but asked, Dr. Chin, who is this child? My name is Tang Tang, and this is my father. The little fellow said in a childish voice while tearing a bag of beef jerky. Chin Haodong said, although I have a child with me, I can still diagnose you if you feel uncomfortable. It's okay. I suddenly feel better. Then the woman turned around and left, leaving Chin Haodong with a confused face. Then some women came to the infirmary one after another, but when they saw Chin Haodong holding the child, they immediately left. Although some did come for treatment, there were not many such people. Chin Haodong had a leisurely time the whole morning. Only then did he understand Lin Momo's intention. She deserved to be the president. Her tricks were so profound. She only used the little fellow to cut off many women's thoughts about him. At noon, when Chin Haodong walked into the canteen with the little fellow, the situation last time did not happen again. He and Zhang Zhizhi had a peaceful meal. After lunch, he took the little fellow to Lin Momo's office. Before they talked for a few words, the door was opened and Embark ran in, panting. Pichin Haodong was slightly stunned. And Bairu was Lin Momo's assistant. She had always been calm. He had never seen her so flustered. Pimizin, what's wrong? Lin Momo frowned slightly. The raw jade gemstone exhibition was extremely important to her, so she specially arranged for Bairu to keep an eye on the venue. Why did she suddenly come back? President Lin. Oh no, something has happened. Bairu said while gasping for breath. What happened? Our raw jade gemstone exhibition just opened yesterday. Today, the Fongs held another raw jade gemstone exhibition opposite us. Lin Momo's face darkened. For this raw gemstone exhibition, Lin's group had invested a lot of money and material resources to advertise all over Huaxia. Now that the effect was good, jade merchants and stone gambling enthusiasts from all over the country flocked to it. But the Fong family held a raw gemstone exhibition on the opposite side, which meant that Lin's group spent money to help them advertise, which was totally an act of picking peaches. The most important thing was that Feng's group had always been the biggest competitor of Lin's group in the jade market. Now another raw gemstone exhibition was held opposite them, which was obviously against them. Pan Bairu continued. The worst thing is that the scale of the Feng's group's raw gemstone exhibition this time is not smaller than ours. Moreover, all their stones are of the old type in Burma, so the quality of the raw gemstones is better than ours. What? That's impossible. Lin Momo suddenly stood up and said angrily, when we went to buy the old type of raw gemstone, didn't the Jade State say that they would not sell it to Huaxia this year? Why didn't they sell it to our Lin family, but to the Feng family? Pan Bairu also said with annoyance, I don't know. Anyway, now the guests have gone to the Feng family. If it goes on like this, we won't even be able to recover the cost after the exhibition is finished in half a month. Let's go and have a look. Then Lin Momo hurried out, followed by Bairu. Qin Haodong thought about it and followed her with the little fellow in his arms. It seemed that his woman was in trouble, so he had to help her. After getting in the car, Lin Momo asked, why are you here? Qin Haodong said, I'm going with you to have a look. I haven't seen what a raw jade gemstone looks like. Yes. Tang Tang, I want to see it too. The little fellow followed. Lin Momo's heart was heavy and she didn't say anything. Qin Haodong asked, I just heard you mention the Jade Gang. What's going on? Lin Momo said, the raw jade gemstone is only produced in Burma, and the quality of the old ones is the best. Although there are raw gemstones in other places, the quality is much worse. The export of raw jade gemstones in Burma is completely controlled by the Jade Gang. As a big company specializing in jade, Lin's group has to deal with the Jade Gang. They have been getting along well over the years. But at the beginning of this year, Lin's group proposed to the Jade Gang to import a batch of raw gemstones from the old ones, but the Jade Gang did not agree. They said that they were not going to export raw gemstones from the old ones to Huaxia this year. We have no choice. The raw gemstones we bought are from other places, and the quality is naturally not as good as the ones from the old ones. Now the raw gemstones that Feng's group took out for the exhibition are all from the old ones, which is better than those of Lin's group. This shows that the Feng family must be behind it. Pan Bairu also said angrily, it must be so. The Feng family must have used some way to get through the relationship with the Jade Gang and set us up. While talking, the motorcade arrived at the site of the raw gemstone exhibition. This was the Jiangnan Convention and Exhibition Center, which was specially prepared for major companies to hold exhibitions. After getting off the car, Qin Haodong saw that the site was full of all kinds of raw jade gemstones. These raw gemstones looked no different from ordinary stones on the surface, but he could clearly feel the difference. Cultivators are most sensitive to spiritual qi. As the Emperor Greenwood, Qin Haodong's spirit is strong. He knows which raw gemstones have abundant spiritual qi, and which ones have no spiritual qi. Boss Lin, look, that's the raw gemstone exhibition held by the Feng family. Pan Bairu pointed to the exhibition area opposite and said. Qin Haodong followed her finger, and saw a large number of raw gemstones piled up on the opposite side. It seemed that the scale was no smaller than here, but the spiritual qi emitted by the raw gemstones over there was obviously richer than here. What's going on? Is it possible that the better the quality of the raw gemstones, the more abundant the spiritual qi? Does that mean that raw gemstones with spiritual qi contain jade? The more abundant the spiritual qi, the better the quality of the jade? Pilin Momo was completely different from Qin Haodong. What she saw was that the Feng family's exhibition area was crowded, while her own was deserted. If it went on like this, the exhibition would really lose a lot. Boss Lin, what should we do? And Bairu asked. Pilin Momo frowned and was at a loss. Those who came to the raw gemstone exhibition were all experts. The quality of the raw gemstones could be seen at a glance. Her stones were not as good as those of the old pit type. It was too difficult to pull people over. Qin Haodong didn't seem to see Lin Momo's mood. He pointed to the raw jade gemstone and asked, "Is there really jade in this thing?" Lin Momo sighed and said patiently, "There may be jade in the raw jade gemstone, but there is a chance. The reason why the old pit type of raw jade gemstone is famous is that it has a high rate of producing jade. Is there any way to see through these stones and see which ones have jade and which ones don't?" Lin Momo said, "It's impossible. With all the current technological means of human beings, it's impossible to see through the raw jade gemstone. Otherwise, there would be no stone gambling. We hold this raw gemstone exhibition to let customers come here to bet on which raw gemstone has jade and which one doesn't. As the saying goes, one cut into the poor, one cut into the rich, one cut into the heaven, one cut into the hell. This is the industry of stone gambling." Pan Bairu added, "Some experts in stone gambling can make some inferences according to the external performance of the raw gemstone. Although it is not 100% accurate, it is much better than gambling by luck." Qin Haodong said, "Oh, I've always been lucky. How about trying it?" He wanted to see if his inference was correct. If the concentration of spiritual qi was directly related to the quality of the jade, it was not much different from seeing through it. Lin Momo said, "Whatever. Anyway, they are all stones of our group. You can ask the stone cutting master next to you to see which one is good." Qin Haodong chose a raw jade gemstone priced at 2,000 yuan and sent it to the stone cutting master. Because there were no customers, the stone cutting master was idle and bored. Pat this time, seeing that there was business, he cut the stone quickly, but there was nothing in it. The 2,000 yuan became a pile of waste stones. "Young man, you lost," the stone cutting master said. They didn't care about this situation. Not to mention the 2,000 yuan stone, even the 20 million yuan stone could be lost. Qin Haodong was not frustrated at all. As he thought, there was no spiritual qi in this stone, so there was no jade in it. He chose another raw jade gemstone with weak spiritual qi. After cutting it again, there was a green jade the size of an egg, and the quality was not very good. Pevenso and Bairu said, "Dr. Qin, you are really lucky. You won 1 out of 2. This stone is worth it." Qin Haodong had just seen that the price of this raw stone was 20,000 yuan, which meant that such an ordinary jade the size of an egg could be sold for more than 20,000 yuan. Seemed that this thing was really valuable. This is just the beginning. My luck will definitely get better and better. While speaking, he chose a raw stone with abundant spiritual qi and sent it to the stone cutting master. "Master, be careful. I think there must be jade in this stone." "Don't worry, young man. I'm very accurate." The stone cutting master was really experienced. Soon, he polished a small window on one side of the stone with a grinding wheel. He carefully observed it while rubbing it. Suddenly, his expression changed, and he became more careful. Soon he stopped the machine in his hand, grabbed a rag, wiped the stone powder on the raw stone, and then poured some water on it. Then he saw a thick green color on the window of the raw stone, like a pool of autumn water, which looked very pure. There is green. There is really green." And Bairu cried in surprise. Lin Momo was also surprised. After so many years of doing the jade business, she was naturally an expert. The green color of this raw stone was very good, which was close to the ice type. As long as he could take out a piece of the size of an egg, it would definitely be worth more than 1 million yuan. The stone cutting master said, "Young man, now your stone has risen. Do you want to continue?" Qin Haodong had achieved his goal. The fact proved that his speculation was correct. The richer the spiritual qi of the raw stone, the higher the quality of the jade inside. He waved his hand indifferently and said, "I don't care. I just want to try my luck. This raw stone belongs to President Lin. She can do whatever she wants. P. Chapter 66. Lin Momo didn't stand on ceremony with Qin Haodong. She said to Enbiru, "Send this stone to the half-gambling area. It can improve our popularity." The raw gemstones here were not of the old pit type, so the jade rate was relatively low. The half-gambling stone of the ice type was the most precious. Panbiru called 2 workers and directed them to send the raw jade stone to the half-gambling area. The little fellow also ran over there to play. Qin Haodong took Lin Momo to a place where no one was around and whispered, "I can help you." What do you mean? Lin Momo was a little confused. She didn't know what Qin Haodong was trying to say. "I can help you defeat the Fangs group and win this exhibition." Are you kidding? How is that possible? Their raw gemstones are of the old pit type, and the quality is much better than ours. Lin Momo didn't believe it at all. She really couldn't think of any way that Qin Haodong could help her. Qin Haodong said seriously, "Of course I'm not kidding. As long as you can trust me, I can help you." Seeing Qin Haodong's serious face, Lin Momo knew he was serious. She said, "I believe you. Tell me, how can you help me?" Don't ask how, but I need a lot of money." "How much money do you have?" A little more than 100 million. Lin Momo asked, "Why do you want to use my money?" "It's for the group. I can use the funds of the Lin's group." Qin Haodong's idea was very simple. He went to the Fangs group's exhibition and bought all the raw gemstones with high concentration of spiritual qi. In this way he could not only attack the Fangs group but also make a lot of money. But he also knew that Lin Momo was only the executive president of the Lin's group, and she didn't have many shares. Such a good thing should naturally be given to his woman. He couldn't let the people of the Lin's group take advantage of it. You don't have to ask about that. If you trust me, then give me your 100 million. I will definitely give you a surprise. Well, all my money is in this card. The password is Tang Tang's birthday. Lin Momo took out a bank card without hesitation. Her life was saved by Qin Haodong, so she didn't care about money. Qin Haodong took the card and said with a smile, "Don't worry, you won't be disappointed." Though she was curious, she chose to believe Qin Haodong, so she didn't ask more. It was close to evening, which was also the busiest time of the raw gemstone exhibition. It was midsummer, and the weather in Jiangnan was too hot. Many people liked to go out at night and buy some raw gemstones to try their luck. Among the crowd, a young man was particularly eye-catching. Not only was he accompanied by an extremely beautiful woman, but he was also carrying a chubby little girl in his arms. There were also 2 snowball-like white puppies running at his feet. This person was Qin Haodong. In the afternoon he returned to Daddy's security company and cleaned up a large warehouse. In the evening, he took the little fellow, Damao and Ermao, to the raw gemstone market. Nailin Wushuang also came with him when she got the news. Qin Haodong first walked around the entire raw gemstone market and found that the marketing method here was basically the same as that of Lin Momo. The entire raw gemstone market was divided into 4 areas. A, B, C, and D. Among them, the raw jade stones in Area A were the most valuable, and the price was generally more than 1 million yuan. The price of raw jade stones in Area B was between 100,000 yuan and 1 million yuan. The price of raw jade stones in Area C was between 10,000 yuan and 100,000 yuan. The last one in Area D was cheap, and the price was less than 10,000 yuan, ranging from hundreds to thousands of yuan. He calculated that with Lin Momo's capital of 100 million yuan, it was enough to buy all the raw gemstones here that had more than doubled. Just as he was thinking, a middle-aged man with gold-rimmed glasses came over. He looked at Damao and Ermao at Qin Haodong's feet with great fondness, and then said, "Little brother, do you sell these 2 dogs?" The little fellow had now regarded Damao and Ermao as her companions. When she heard that someone wanted to buy them, she quickly said, No, Damao and Ermao are my dogs. I'm not selling them." Damao and Ermao seemed to feel the intention of the middle-aged man. They looked at him with hostility and roared with dissatisfaction. The middle-aged man smiled at the little fellow and said, "Little cutie, these 2 dogs can be exchanged for a lot of money. You can buy a lot of things you like." Then he turned to Qin Haodong and said, "Little brother, I'm Qian Duo Duo. I have two hobbies in my life. The first is jade jewelry, and the second is dogs, especially pure Tibetan Mastiffs. Pi can see that these two dogs are extremely rare purebred snow mastiffs. I won't treat you badly. 5 million yuan for one and 10 million yuan for two. How about that? Pa, soon as he said that, it immediately attracted the attention of the people around him. Originally, everyone thought that Damao and Ermao were just two pet dogs. They didn't expect that they were worth so much money. They immediately gathered around. P, the little fellow, was a little anxious. She hugged Qin Haodong's neck and cried, Papa, don't sell Damao and Ermao. They are my friends. P, don't worry, Papa won't sell them. Qin Haodong smiled at Qian Duo and said, Mr. Qian, as you can see, my daughter doesn't agree. I won't sell these two dogs. P, Qian Duo was not discouraged. He said, little brother, I really like these two dogs. 10 million yuan for each dog. Is that okay? P, after he said that, there was a commotion among the onlookers. It should be known that 20 million yuan could allow ordinary people to live a carefree life, and they were very rich. P, young man, sell them. These two dogs of yours are only worth this much. Yes, young man, 10 million yuan for one and 20 million for two. The price is not low at all. Qin Haodong was not moved at all. On the one hand, he would not sell what his daughter liked no matter how much money he paid. On the other hand, now the two little snow mastiffs had been cleaned by him. They were not ordinary Tibetan mastiffs. It was not an exaggeration to say that they were strange beasts. They could not be measured by money at all. P, sorry, not for sale. Qin Haodong was about to leave with Damao and Ermao. Qian Duo said again, little brother, 30 million yuan for two. P, Qin Haodong looked back at him and smiled. Mr. Qian, even if you pay me 300 million yuan, I won't sell them. P, seeing that the young man really did not intend to sell the dogs, Qian Duo looked disappointed. He took out a business card from his pocket and gave it to Qin Haodong. Little brother, let's be friends. If you have the idea of selling dogs in the future, you must think of contacting me as soon as possible. P, although Qin Haodong did not want to sell Damao and Ermao, he took the business card out of politeness and glanced at it. It said, President of Jiangnan Jade Association, Chief Jewelry Appraiser of Huaxia, Qian Duo. P, after the interlude, Qin Haodong began to buy raw jade gemstones. He began to buy all the raw jade gemstones that could double the value of the gambling. P, before coming, he had made sufficient preparations. After paying, someone immediately loaded the raw stones and took them away to the warehouse of Daddy's security company. P, while buying and walking, Qin Haodong had soon bought all the high-quality raw jade stones in the three areas A, B, and C. He was different from others in buying raw stones. He knew at a glance which one had enough spiritual qi, so there was no need to choose at all. He just wrote down the number and bought it. P, this kind of buying method, which was like choosing cabbages, immediately attracted the attention of everyone present. Everyone noticed that the young man in ordinary clothes was so generous. In the blink of an eye, he had spent almost 70 or 80 million yuan. No wonder he was not tempted just now when there was an extra 30 million yuan. P, similarly, he also attracted the attention of the organizers of the raw gemstone exhibition. However, most of the raw stones selected did not look good, so no one cared. They just thought that this young man was the kind of rich second generation who burned money. P, soon Qin Haodong came to the D area. He was recording the number of the raw stone he liked. Suddenly he heard two heart-wrenching screams. P, he turned his head and saw two bodyguards in black suits covering their bloody wrists and looking at Damao and Ermao in horror. P, Damao and Ermao grew very fast. Now they were almost knee-high. They were looking at the two people angrily and growling from time to time. P, Damao and Ermao, come back. P, Qin Haodong called the two snow mastiffs back. He was slightly surprised. These two little things were quite intelligent and generally would not attack people. P, whose dog is it? How can it bite? The two bodyguards in black roared. P, in order to make it convenient for Qin Haodong to record the original number, Nalan Wushuang took the initiative to hold Tang Tang. At this time the little fellow cried in her arms, Papa, they wanted to catch the dog, so the dog bit them. P, Qin Haodong knew that things were very clear. It must be these two people who saw the value of Damao and Ermao and wanted to take them away secretly. P took 2 steps forward and said to the two bodyguards, Tell me, why did you catch my dog? I asked them to catch it. An arrogant voice rang out from outside the crowd. Following that, an extremely arrogant woman walked in. If Nalan Wushuang was as beautiful as a fairy with no flaws, then this woman was the opposite of her. She was so ugly that she couldn't be uglier. She was 1.5 meters tall and weighed 160 or 170 kilograms. Her face was like a pancake and covered with freckles. All in all, if there was a negative value in appearance, it was the most suitable for her. Although the woman was extremely ugly, she was very arrogant. She came to Qin Haodong and said arrogantly, I like these 2 dogs. Tell me, how much do you want? Qin Haodong glanced at her and didn't want to look at her again. He really didn't want to talk to such an ugly woman. He said coldly, not for sale. The ugly woman's face turned cold and she cried, Boy, I Jota have taken a fancy to the dogs. It's already a great honor for me to give you money. Don't be ungrateful. Jota, this woman turns out to be Jota. Who is Jota? Is she famous? You may not know Zhou Tsuetsue, but you must have heard of her brother, Zhou Qianhu, the leader of the Jade Gang in Burma. Damn, then this young man is in trouble. No one can afford to offend Zhou Qianhu's sister. Hearing the discussion of the people around, Zhou Tsuetsue looked proud. She was used to being arrogant because of the Jade Gang. She cried, 1,000 yuan for the 2 dogs. They are mine. Qin Haodong also heard the discussion of the people around him clearly. No wonder this woman was so arrogant. It turned out that she was the sister of the leader of the Jade Gang. But in his eyes she was still worthless. He glanced at Zhou Tsuetsue and said with a playful smile, It's not your fault that you are ugly, but it's wrong to come out and scare people. It's not good if my dogs are scared and bite you. Soon as he finished speaking, Damao and Ermao seemed to be really scared by Zhou Tsu. They suddenly rushed over. The 2 bodyguards in black wanted to stop them, but Damao and Ermao were very flexible. They went around them and bit Zhou Tsuetsue. The 2 snow mastiffs were very intelligent. They didn't hurt people, but tore Zhou Tsuetsue's pants into pieces, leaving only a pair of underwear. Bastard, wait and see. I won't forgive you. Zhou Chui screamed and ran away. Her 2 bodyguards also hurriedly chased after her. Chapter 67. After that, Qin Haodong continued to collect high-quality raw jade gemstones in Zone D. The price of raw stones in Area D was the lowest, but compared to the other 3 areas, the quantity was also the highest. And because of the low price, the chance of winning was also very high. Qin Haodong had just walked halfway, and he had almost collected enough raw stones to fill the cart. He paid according to the order number and transported the raw stones away. When he was about to continue to choose, a loud noise came, and a large group of bodyguards rushed over and surrounded them. The leader was Feng Tianda, the young master of Feng's group, and Zhou Tsuetsue, who had just changed clothes, followed him. Darling, who bullied you? Today, I'm going to beat him until even his mother can't recognize him. Feng Tianda said arrogantly. Qin Haodong then understood why Feng's group had established a relationship with the Jade Gang. It turned out that Feng Tianda had found such an ugly woman to be the brother-in-law of the leader of the Jade Gang. Looking at the handsome Feng Tianda and the ugly Zhou Tsuetsue, he couldn't help shaking his head secretly. It seemed that as a member of a big family, no matter man or woman, he couldn't control his own marriage. Everything was based on interests. Zhou Tsuetsue pointed to Qin Haodong and cried, Tianda, this is the toy boy who bullied me. You must take his 2 dogs for me. Qin Haodong frowned slightly. It seemed that this woman was so arrogant that she wanted to rob Damao and Ermao openly. Don't worry, it's just 2 dogs. I'll definitely bring it to you. There's nothing in Jiangnan that our Feng family can't do. Feng Tianda saw Qin Haodong as soon as he finished speaking. He gritted his teeth and said, Boy, it's you. Last time, he was humiliated at the gate of Lin's group. Not only was he severely taught a lesson by Qin Haodong, but he was also taken to the traffic police station by Nalan Wuxia for a day. After coming out, he angrily agreed to the proposal of the leader of the Jade Gang, and confirmed his relationship with Zhou Tsu. He wanted to use the power of the Jade Gang to suppress Lin's group. Zhou Tianhu finally found a man for his ugly sister. He was so happy that he helped the Fengs with a large number of raw jade gemstones from the old pit. He held the raw gemstone exhibition opposite Lin's group. Qin Haodong smiled and said, "It's me, Mr. Feng. We are really fated. Kid, you're the one who delivered yourself to me." Feng Tianda waved his hand and shouted to the bodyguards behind him, "Do it. Leave the 2 dogs. Break the limbs of the man and throw the woman out." Although he knew that Qin Haodong was very good at martial arts, this was his territory and he had bodyguards. He would be able to control the situation. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard a cold voice saying, "Feng Tianda, who do you want to throw out?" Nalan Wushuang was holding the little fellow. Feng Tianda hadn't seen her face clearly. Now he saw that she was the eldest daughter of the Nalan family. "Nah, Miss Nalan, when did you come?" Feng Tianda quickly raised his hand to stop the bodyguard who was about to pounce on him. He didn't have the guts to do anything to Nalan Wushuang. Although the Feng's group was powerful, it could not be compared with the Nalan family. Otherwise, it would not have been defeated by Nalan Wuxia. But he didn't understand why the 2 princesses of the Nalan family had such a good relationship with this toy boy. First, Nalan Wuxia protected Qin Haodong, and now Nalan Wushuang also stood with him, holding a child in her arms. What was going on? Zhou Tsuetsue saw that he stopped and looked at the beautiful woman in front of her eagerly. She was very dissatisfied and cried, "Tianda, why don't you do it? Hurry up and get the 2 dogs for me." Feng Tianda complained in his heart. He took Zhou Tsuetsue a few steps to the side and whispered, "Honey, this is the eldest daughter of the Nalan family in Jiangnan. We can't afford to offend her." Zhou Tsuetsue didn't buy it at all. She cried rudely, "I don't care about the Nalan family or the Hong family. Anyway, I want the 2 dogs. Didn't you just say that there is nothing your Feng family can't do in Jiangnan?" "My lady, it's just 2 dogs. You wait. I'll find a way to get them for you." Feng Tianda was very depressed. He had to please Zhou Tsuetsue for the sake of the Feng family, and the eldest daughter of the Nalan family was standing there. He couldn't afford to offend her in any case. If he still wanted the 2 dogs in this situation, he had to think of other ways. He went back to Qin Haodong and said with a sullen face, "Boy, sell your 2 dogs to me, and we'll forget about the past." "Not for sale." Qin Haodong answered without hesitation. "You..." Feng Tianda wanted to get angry, but he held it back when he saw Nalan Wushuang next to him. Suddenly he thought of something and said, "Boy, you're here to buy stones, aren't you?" Qin Haodong nodded and looked at Feng Tianda quietly, wanting to see what he was up to. "So, you also have research on raw jade stones?" "Not research, but I know a little," Feng Tianda said. "Do you dare to bet?" "Oh, what do you want to bet?" Qin Haodong looked at him with interest. "Let's each choose a stone here. Whoever has a better stone and a higher price wins. If I win, give me your 2 dogs. If I lose, I'll give you 10 million yuan. After that, Feng Tianda looked at Qin Haodong nervously. As the young master of Feng's group, he had been dealing with raw jade stones since he was a child. He thought he had a much better vision than others. What he was most afraid of now was that Qin Haodong would not agree. If he couldn't get the 2 dogs, it would inevitably make Zhou Tsuetsue unhappy. "Bet okay," Qin Haodong said, "but your bet is too low. Someone just bid 30 million for my 2 dogs. 30 million is fine as long as you dare to bet." Feng Tianda raised the bet without hesitation. In his opinion, he could win the bet 100%. Qin Haodong said again, "But since it's a bet, my 2 dogs are here, and you have to take out the bet. And since it's a bet, you have to find a referee and a notary. Otherwise, what if you get a broken stone and say it's worth more than mine?" "Boy, I'm the young master of the Feng family. Will I go back on my word?" "That's hard to say." Qin Haodong laughed. People like Feng Tianda only had interests in their eyes, and there was no quality to talk about. "I'll be a notary. I don't know if you 2 can trust me." Everyone followed the voice and saw that it was Qian Duoduo, who had just bid 30 million to buy Damao and Ermao. He was the president of the Jiangnan Jade Association, and also the chief jewelry appraiser of Huaxia. He had a good reputation in the industry, so he was the most suitable person to be the referee. "President Qian, you're here," Feng Tianda said with a flattering face, The former president will be our referee. Of course I can trust him. Qian Duoduo turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, "Little brother, what do you think?" Qin Haodong also had a good impression of Qian Duoduo. He said, "I also trust Mr. Qian." Qian Duoduo said, "Well, let me be the notary of this bet." Feng Tianda took out the checkbook, wrote a check for 30 million yuan and handed it to Qian Duoduo. Qin Haodong also let Damao and Ermao lie down. Everything was ready. Feng Tianda said, "Can we bet now?" "Of course, but I don't need to do anything to beat you." When everyone was confused, Qin Haodong said to Qian Duoduo, "Mr. Qian, I'll borrow a dog to choose a stone first. It's not against the rules, is it?" "Yes," Qian Duoduo said, and then looked at the young man with interest. He had been in the jade industry for so many years, but he had never heard of anyone using a dog to choose raw stones. Although a dog's nose was naturally sensitive, it didn't seem to work for things like stones. After getting permission, Qin Haodong pointed to Damao and said, "Go and choose a stone for me." "You..." Feng Tianda was so angry that his eyes were full of fire. He didn't expect that Qin Haodong would use a dog to compare with him, but he had no choice. After all, there were no restrictions on stone gambling. Naturally, he couldn't restrict others from using dogs. He glared at Qin Haodong and then went to choose stones. At this time, more and more people gathered to watch the fun. These people who came to participate in stone gambling were very interested in gambling. At the same time, they wanted to see how the young man would use a dog to choose raw stones. In fact, Qin Haodong asked Damao to choose stones was a cover-up to divert others' attention. He didn't want others to know that he had the ability to see through the raw stones. After Damao went out, he followed Qin Haodong's instructions completely. Soon he ran to a raw stone of 200 or 300 kilograms, then he jumped on it and turned back to bark a few times. Seeing that this puppy was so psychic, everyone was very interested. Could this dog really choose a good raw stone? Qin Haodong said to Qian Duoduo, "Mr. Qian, since Damao likes this stone, I will choose it." The price of the stone was 5,000 yuan. After that, he paid the staff of the stone yard and bought the stone. After receiving the money, the staff immediately asked someone to push the raw stone over with a cart. Over there, Feng Tianda was carefully selecting stones one by one. According to his experience from primary school, he carefully looked at the color and pattern of the raw stones and carefully selected them. After a full 20 minutes, he finally chose a raw stone and asked the staff to push it out. After the 2 raw stones were placed, Feng Tianda called 2 stone-cutting masters and began to cut them on the spot. "Who's first?" Qian Duoduo asked. "I'll go first." Feng Tianda was full of confidence. He was confident in his ability to choose raw stones. At the same time, he didn't think that the raw stone chosen by a dog would be better than his. After receiving the order, the stone-cutting master began to cut Feng Tianda's stone. With the roar of the cutting machine, the raw stone chips splashed, and soon a touch of green came out. There is really green. He deserves to be the young master of Feng's group. He really has a good eye, the quality is good. It looks like the green bean type. It seems that this raw stone can be worth more than 1 million yuan. Young Master Feng is really amazing. Amidst the praises, Feng Tianda raised his chin complacently and glanced at the black stone under Qin Haodong's feet. His face was full of disdain. In his opinion, he had already won the bet. In less than 10 minutes, his stone was cut. The stone-cutting master poured a basin of water, and a green jade the size of an apple appeared in front of everyone. Qian Duoduo reached out to pick up the jade and looked at it. He nodded and said, "Good, the waterhead has reached the green bean type. The price should reach 1.2 million. Seeing Qian Duoduo made the value evaluation, a jade merchant immediately cried, "Young Master Feng, I'll pay 1.2 million for it." Not for sale. Feng's group had its own jewelry company. Feng Tianda naturally would not sell this good quality jade. Seeing her boyfriend cut out such a good jade, Zhou Zizue also looked proud. She turned to look at Qin Haodong and said, "Toy boy, it's your turn." The onlookers also looked at Qin Haodong together. In their opinion, the young man's chance of winning was very small. Chapter 68. Zhou Tsue's words focused everyone's eyes on Qin Haodong's raw stone. Many experts couldn't help but frown. This raw stone is too bad. It has no cracks, no ringworm and no python pattern. How can there be jade? That's right. This young man even used a dog to choose the raw stone. It's too sloppy. It seems that Feng Daxiao will win. It's a pity that the 2 dogs worth 30 million yuan are already his. Hearing the discussion of the people around him, Feng Tianda became more and more proud. He said to Qin Haodong sarcastically, "Is it necessary to cut this black stone of yours? I think you should just admit defeat, so that you won't make a fool of yourself after cutting it." Qin Haodong laughed and said, "Of course, I always think that my dog is better than you." Then he said to the stone-cutting master, "Let's start, but remember to rub it slowly. Maybe there is treasure in this stone." The stone-cutting master nodded. Although he was not optimistic about this stone and thought it was not necessary to rub it, he could only do as the guest asked. With the sound of the saw blade, gravel splashed, and a touch of green slowly appeared. There is green. Oh my God, such a stone has green. Although there is green, it can't be compared with Feng Daxiao's green pea jade. No, it looks like ice jade to me. The green is so beautiful. Ice jade. It's really ice jade. This young man, no, this dog's luck is really too good. The onlookers all opened their mouths wide. They squeezed to the front and stared at the stone. Feng Tianda's face became very gloomy. He had just cut out a green pea jade, and before he finished being happy, the other side had gotten ice jade. Zhou Tsui said with jealousy, "Don't be afraid, Tianda. I've seen this kind of jade. It may be a little bit, and there is nothing below. It's not as valuable as yours." Feng Tianda nodded and felt a little relieved. He also thought that Qin Haodong should not have such good luck. But as time went by, he slowly became dumbfounded. After all the stone was removed, there was an ice jade the size of a volleyball. Not only was it better than his, but it was also bigger. Qian Duo also widened his eyes. Although he had been in the jade industry for so many years, it was rare to see such a high-quality ice jade, let alone such a big piece. He held the jade in his hand and slowly observed it for a long time. Then he shouted excitedly, "Rare, it's really rare. I haven't seen such a good jade in a long time." He turned to Qin Haodong and said, "Young man, if you're willing to part with it, I'll buy it for 10 million yuan. Well, I'll sell it." Qin Haodong said. Recently, he was indeed a little short of money. In the future, he would still need a lot of money to buy medicinal herbs, so he directly chose to sell the jade. After the 2 of them reached an agreement, the expressions of the onlookers changed. This young man's luck was really good. A stone that he had just bought for 5,000 yuan was sold for 10 million in the blink of an eye. More than that, it also meant that he won the bet with Feng Tianda, and the 30 million check was also his. Sure enough, Qian Duo officially announced that Qin Haodong had won the bet. After writing a check worth 10 million yuan, he gave it to Qin Haodong together with Feng Tianda's 30 million yuan. "Papa, you're awesome." The little fellow cried happily. Although she didn't know what a check was, she also knew that her father had one, and she didn't have to give her dog away. Then she pointed to Feng Tianda and said to Nalan Wushuang, "Second mom, that man is really stupid. He's a big fool." Feng Tianda was so angry that he could only stare. But there was nothing he could do. He couldn't argue with such a little child. He lost 30 million yuan in the blink of an eye. Although the Feng family was big, it was enough to make him feel pain for a while. However, the notary was Qian Duo, the president of the Jade Association, and there was a young lady of the Nalan family standing next to him. He didn't have the guts to renege on the debt even if he wanted to. "You lost like this. What a waste." Seeing that Feng Tianda lost the bet, Zhou Tsui immediately turned hostile. "I don't care. You have to get me those 2 dogs anyway, or I'll ask my brother to stop the supply of raw stones to your Feng family." This, in the face of such an unreasonable woman, Feng Tianda really wanted to go up and slap her, but he could only swallow the impulse when he thought of Zhou Tianhu, the leader of the Jade Gang. He had lost the bet, and Zhou Tsui was still chasing him for the dogs. Feng Tianda had no choice but to say again, "I lost this game. Do you dare to bet again?" "Of course my papa is the best." The little fellow was now a loyal fan of Qin Haodong. In her heart, her father was an omnipotent person, so she was not afraid of the big fool in front of her. Qin Haodong naturally would not refuse this kind of bet where there was no winning or losing. He kissed the little fellow on the cheek, and then said happily, "My daughter said that there's nothing I'm afraid to bet with you." Feng Tianda said, "Then let's bet again. The wager remains the same. I'll still bet 30 million on your 2 dogs. But this time I want someone else to choose the raw stones for me." "No problem." Qin Haodong simply agreed. No matter who the other party chose, it was impossible to win him. Feng Tianda called a bodyguard and ordered, "Go and get Mr. Sun here." The bodyguard answered and ran out. Qin Haodong wrote another check of 30 million and handed it to Qian Duoduo. Soon, the bodyguard came over with a middle-aged man of about 50 years old. The man was wearing a robe and had an extraordinary temperament. He was Sun Dinghua, the jade appraisal master of Feng's group. Sun Dinghua had a very strong background. He had extraordinary attainments in jade, and was famous in the jade and gem industry. He was poached by Feng's group with a lot of money, and he really helped Feng's family make a lot of money in recent years. "Young master, what can I do for you?" Sun Dinghua asked. After briefly explaining the situation of the bet, Feng Tianda said to him, "You bet for me? Don't worry, young master. As long as I'm here, I'm sure I'll win." Sun Dinghua had enough confidence, and he didn't take the young man in front of him seriously. The industry of stone gambling might depend on luck once or twice, but in the end it still depended on vision, and he happened to be a very vision person. The gambling began again, and Sun Dinghua confidently went to choose the raw stone. The onlookers all looked at Qin Haodong. Feng's family had obviously used their real strength and sent Sun Dinghua out. In their opinion, this young man should be taken seriously. But Qin Haodong waved his hand and called Mao over. "It's your turn. Don't lose face." Mao seemed to understand what he said, barked twice, and then rushed to the raw stone. "Mao, come on." The little fellow clenched his fist and shouted, which made the onlookers laugh. Mao seemed to feel the little master's encouragement, and quickly chose a huge raw stone, jumped directly on it, and turned back to Qin Haodong and barked twice. "That's it." This stone was a little more expensive than the previous one, priced at 8,000 yuan. Qin Haodong paid the money and asked someone to push the stone over. Sun Dinghua over there was much faster than Feng Tianda. In less than 10 minutes, he also chose a stone and pushed it over. "Who's first?" Qian Duoduo asked again. "Let's go first. I don't believe we can't beat this bumpkin." Feng Tianda shouted angrily. In his opinion, Qin Haodong could have good luck once, but there would never be a second time. Moreover, Sun Dinghua was an expert hired with a lot of money. This bet was bound to win. 2 stone cutters carried the huge raw stone to the cutting machine and began to cut it skillfully. Soon, a green light flashed, and a rectangular jade appeared in front of everyone. Although this jade was not too big, about the size of a red brick, it was still very good. "What a beautiful jade. It should reach the glutinous rice type. Mr. Sun is really good. I heard that his monthly salary is 1 million yuan. It seems that he is worthy of his value. That young man must be finished. Although he cut out the glass type last time, good luck can't always be on one person. This time he will definitely lose." Sun Dinghua was still very famous in the jade industry. After he took action, everyone was not optimistic about Qin Haodong. On the one hand, Qin Haodong was too young. On the other hand, this way of using a dog to choose jade was incredible. No one could have confidence in him. Soon it was Qin Haodong's stone. Because of the last experience, although this time the stone cutters were not optimistic about this stone, they still carefully polished it. As time went by, the stone chips were flying. The stone cutters had rubbed in a lot, but still did not see the green. On the contrary, the color of the stone chips was getting darker and darker. "It's over. It's all over. See, there is no green at all. I said that luck can't always be on one person's side. Stone gambling ultimately depends on strength. This young man is too unreliable. He even used a dog to choose the stone. It's inevitable that he will lose." Qin Haodong was also slightly surprised. He was not good at jade. He chose the raw stone by relying on the spiritual qi. But it was clear that this stone was exuding strong spiritual qi. Why hadn't he seen the jade yet? Could it be that there was a mistake in this method? At this moment, Qian Duoduo suddenly shouted, "Stop!" The two stonecutters didn't understand, but they still stopped according to his order. Qian Duoduo walked to the raw stone with a dignified face. He squatted down and looked at it carefully. The onlookers were very confused. They didn't know what the president of the Jade Association was going to do. Soon Qian Duoduo looked excited. His hands trembled as he stroked the raw stone. He murmured, "Black ice, it's really black ice." "What do you mean? What did President Qian say? What is black ice?" "I've heard that black ice seems to be a kind of black jade, but I've been in the jade industry for so long. I've only heard of it, but I've never seen it. Don't tell me he's so lucky to have picked such a rare jade?" Chapter 69. Then Qian Duoduo didn't let the two stone-cutting masters do it, but cut the stone himself. He was very careful, as if he was afraid of hurting the jade. Half an hour later, a black jade the size of a basketball appeared in front of everyone. Qian Duoduo took a basin of water and handed it over. Suddenly the black jade became clear. Under the light, the veins on the black jade were clearly visible. Some were like majestic mountains and some were like rolling rivers. It was like a natural ink painting, bringing people a different artistic conception. Qian Duoduo threw the basin on the ground and exclaimed, "Oh my God! This is the best black ice ink painting type." The onlookers were also amazed. Black ice jade was extremely rare. Many people had only heard of it but had never seen it. Today they suddenly saw such a big piece, and it was a very rare black ice ink painting type, which made everyone amazed. Sun Dingguo was excited at first. Then he thought of his bet and looked gloomy. In front of the best black ice ink painting type, his jade was nothing at all. Just when everyone was amazed, someone suddenly said, "Tianda, what is this black thing? I don't think they're worth much. Hurry up and bring me those two dogs." It was Zhou Zizue who spoke. Even Feng Tianda was ashamed of such ignorant words. He couldn't wait to stay away from this stupid woman. Qian Duoduo took a deep breath and calmed down. He stood up and glanced at Zhou Zizue, thinking that this woman was not only ugly, but also so stupid. As the sister of the leader of the Jade Gang, she didn't even know black ice jade. In fact, it was not surprising. Zhou Tianhu, the leader of the Jade Gang, had lost his parents when he was young. He only had such a sister. After he got power, he didn't let Zhou Zizue participate in the affairs of the gang. Instead, she spent all day drinking and having fun, so this woman didn't know much about jade. Someone in the crowd asked, "President Qian, tell us what is the black ice jade and what is the black ice ink painting type?" "Well, I'll tell you." Qian Duoduo cleared his throat and said, "Black ice is a kind of ice jade. Some people call it black jade. The ancients used to call black jade the black chicken type. Black was originally the dirty color of jadeite, so its value had been relatively low for many years. However, in recent years this situation had fundamentally changed. The price of black ice jade had risen sharply, and it had not reached its peak yet. The first reason was that the black ice jade was extremely rare and the quantity was very small. In the jade market, the rarer it was, the more expensive it was. Secondly, people have discovered that black jade, due to its unevenness, combined with the water type, can produce a unique Chinese ink painting feeling. The man in the crowd asked again, "President Qian, how do you judge the grade and value of the black ice jade?" Black ice jadeite is divided into 5 grades according to its purity, uniformity, and thickness. According to the performance of this black ice jadeite, the black color is pure, rich, and evenly distributed. It belongs to the best first-class upper grade. In addition, the value of the black ice jade depends on whether it has a pattern. The one with a pattern is called the black ice ink painting type. The pattern is obvious, and people can see the effect of the ink painting at a glance. Speaking of this, Qian Duoduo pointed to the black ice jade in front of him and said, "Look, this black ice jade has a pure color and is evenly distributed. The most important thing is that the pattern is very clear. It's just like a magnificent ink painting. That's why I said it's the best black ice ink painting type." There was an uproar in the crowd. They all sighed that Qin Haodong was really lucky. The little white dog had chosen such a piece of the best jade for him. Someone couldn't help crying. President Qian, how much is this black ice ink painting type worth? Qian Duo said with emotion. Now the value of the black ice jade is rising day by day. It's really not easy to estimate. At the auction in Hong Kong last year, someone bought a piece of black ice jade for 20 million yuan. Its quality was definitely not as good as this one. If Brother Qin is willing to give up this jade, I'm willing to offer 30 million yuan. 30 million. Oh my god, 30 million. I'll bring my dog here tomorrow and see if I can get a piece of jade worth 3 million yuan for me. It's so annoying. A dog chose such a good raw stone. I've been in this field for so many years, but I'm not even as good as a dog. Don't you see that young Master Feng is not as good as a dog, and even the expert he found is not as good as a dog? Hearing the discussion around them, Feng Tianda and Sun Dinghua's faces were extremely ugly. It was okay to lose the bet, but they lost to a dog. How could they show their faces? Qian Duo looked at Qin Haodong and said, Brother, I'm willing to pay 30 million yuan for your black ice ink painting type. To tell you the truth, this price is not too high. It's reasonable, but I can only offer so much. Although he was the president of the Jade Association and had made a lot of money over the years, most of it had been turned into gems and treasured at home. So he only had more than 40 million yuan in cash. He had just spent 10 million yuan and now there was only 30 million left. Qin Haodong had a good impression of Qian Duo. Seeing his sincerity, he said, Since President Qian likes it, take it. Great, thank you, Brother Qin. Qian Duo said and happily wrote a check of 30 million yuan and sent it to Qin Haodong's hand. The current price of this black ice ink painting type was indeed about 30 million yuan, but there was absolutely a lot of room for appreciation. It was a sure profit to buy it. After paying the money, he suddenly remembered that he still had the duty of a referee. He quickly announced, The result of this round of gambling has come out. Brother Qin wins. In fact, even if he didn't announce it, everyone had already seen that although Sun Dinghua's jade was good and could be worth millions, it was still incomparable with the black ice ink painting type which was worth 30 million yuan. After Qian Duo announced it, he unceremoniously handed Feng Tianda's check of 30 million yuan to Qin Haodong's hand. At this time many people were jealous. The two dogs chose 2 stones and sold them for 40 million yuan in a blink of an eye. They won another 60 million yuan in gambling. This young man made money so fast that people couldn't help being jealous. Zhou Cuizue didn't care about the 60 million yuan that Feng Tianda lost. After all, it was not her money, but she cared about the 2 dogs. Trash, you two are trash. You have lost my face. You can't even get a dog. Zhou Cuizue had never been provoked in the Jade Gang. Now she was not polite to scold Feng Tianda and Sun Dinghua. Feng Tianda and Sun Dinghua's faces were extremely ugly. They were used to being complimented in daily life. At this time they were scolded by an ugly woman. They were angry but did not dare to lose their temper. Just then, someone outside the crowd said, Miss, who made you angry again? As soon as the voice fell, the crowd separated, and a dozen people came in from outside. The leader was an old man in his 60s. Although his hair was gray, he looked full of spirit. Behind the old man stood a big man wearing an eye mask. Although he had only one eye left, his eyes were fierce. He looked like a tough guy. Uncle Gu, you are here. Zhou Cuizue plunged into the old man's arms, as if she had been greatly wronged. The old man was Gu Tianfeng, one of the 4 jade appraisers of the Jade Gang, and the one-eyed man was Meng Gang, a powerful general under Zhou Tianhu. Gu Tianfeng watched the Zhou siblings grow up. In addition, he had no children, so he was very fond of Zhou Cuizue. He turned to look at Feng Tianda and asked, Young Master Feng, why did Cuizue suffer such a big grievance? Gu Tianfeng was a pivotal figure in the entire jade appraisal industry in Burma, and he was even more respected in the Jade Gang. Feng Tianda did not dare to neglect him and quickly said, Mr. Gu, it's like this. He briefly told him that Zhou Cuizue had taken a fancy to the 2 dogs and that he had lost the bet with Qin Haodong. Finally, he said, Mr. Gu, I'm incompetent. I lost 2 games in a row, which made Cuizue angry. Gu Tianfeng glanced at Qin Haodong and said to Feng Tianda, It's not that I look down on you, but the Feng family can't even beat such a young man. It's really useless. Sun Dinghua's face was extremely ugly when he was reprimanded, but he did not dare to say anything. Although he had some attainments in jade appraisal, he was not at the same level as Gu Tianfeng. He was called an expert, but Gu Tianfeng was a master. Zhou Zizui cried, "It's too useless. Uncle Gu, you must help me." "Don't worry. For you, I'll make an exception for you." Gu Tianfeng's status in Burma was extremely high. There was a ranking of raw jade stone appraisal masters, and Gu Tianfeng was in the top 10. Ordinary people asked him to bid at least 1 million yuan, and it depended on his mood. Most of the time, even if he paid, he would not pay. After that, he turned to Qin Haodong and said, "Young man, you're good. Do you dare to bet with me again?" Okay, I want to see it again." The little fellow agreed directly. Her father had just won the 2 games, which made her very happy. Of course, Qin Haodong didn't care. The master was nothing in his eyes. "Well, since you're interested, I'll bet with you again." "Please bet." Zhou Zizui cried to Feng Tianda. "Hurry up and give me the money. Do you want Uncle Gu to pay?" "Yes." Feng Tianda agreed. He gritted his teeth and tore off another check. After filling it out, he sent it to Qian Duoduo. Like Lin Momo, his private money was about 100 million yuan, which was the last of his family. If he lost it, he would have no money. Qian Duoduo also had a very good impression of Qin Haodong. He whispered in his ear, "Mr. Qin, you must be serious this time. This old man is a famous raw jade stone appraisal master in Burma. I heard that as long as he selects the raw jade stone, the gambling price will increase at least 10 times. Qin Haodong nodded and said, "I see. Thank you for your reminder, President Qian." Others also thought that in the face of a supermaster like Gu Tianfeng, the young man in front of them should not use dogs to choose raw jade stones. Unexpectedly, Qin Haodong murmured, "Since he is a master, of course we should pay attention to it. Then send 2 dogs." Then he waved to Damao and Ermao and said, "You 2 go together. If you can't choose well, you won't have dinner today." Chapter 70. Qin Haodong sent Damao and Ermao out before Gu Tianfeng made a move. Seemed absurd, but in fact it was quite meaningful. He knew very well that Gu Tianfeng was worthy of his reputation. Since Gu Tianfeng was known as a raw jade stone appraisal master, he must have unique means. He had swept most of the raw stones in Area D. Among the remaining raw stones, there was one with the richest spiritual qi. In order not to attract attention, he didn't choose this raw stone. He wanted to buy it when no one was paying attention after the gambling was over. But now Gu Tianfeng was here. If he didn't take the lead and the old man chose the raw stone, he would be in trouble. At that time he would definitely lose. Because of this, he directed Damao and Ermao to rush to the stone. This was a very huge stone, as high as a person. Generally speaking, such a large raw jade stone, if there was no ringworm, crack, or python pattern, the probability of producing jade was extremely low. And this stone happened to have nothing on it. It looked no different from ordinary granite, which was why it was placed in Area D. After Damao and Ermao came to the stone together, it was impossible to jump up again. Finally, the 2 little things made a move that almost made everyone collapse. They raised their right legs and peed under the stone, symbolizing that they had occupied the stone. Qin Haodong said, "Well, since my 2 little things like this stone, I'll take it." Although this stone was almost the largest in the field, it was only priced at 2,000 yuan. Qin Haodong paid for it, and 8 workers came out at a time to push the huge raw jade stone straight over. Gu Tianfeng ignored all this. He stepped over and began to choose the raw stone he liked. As he chose, he slowly frowned. It could be seen from the original stone coats that they were all raw stones from the old pit in Burma, but he didn't know why there were so few stones that could enter his eyes. What he didn't know was that there were few raw stones left after Qin Haodong swept them away. After 2 gambling games, they had basically been collected. It was very difficult to find high-quality raw stones. Because of this, Gu Tianfeng wandered in the raw stone field for almost half an hour before he barely chose a stone he liked and asked the workers to push it out. Since both of them had chosen, Qian Duoduo asked as usual, "Who will go first?" Gu Tianfeng said, "It's not good for me to bully the younger generation. Let him go first." Qin Haodong said, well, I'll go first. As he spoke, he let the two stone-cutting masters start to cut the huge stone. With the previous two experiences, although the two stone-cutting masters were not optimistic about this stone, they still seriously cut it. The stone was so big that they didn't see anything even after cleaning several small windows. Finally, after asking for Qin Haodong's opinion, they directly cut the big stone in the middle. Everyone looked at the center of the stone, wanting to see if this young man could still create a miracle. However, the result disappointed everyone. After the big stone was cut open, there was no sign of green at all. It's over. I told you that luck can't always stand on one person's side. That's normal. I've long seen that this stone isn't good enough. It's just that the quality is too poor. Feng Tianda was relieved. He pointed at Qin Haodong arrogantly and shouted, boy, now you're convinced, aren't you? Then he shouted to his men, go and get me those two dogs. Wait a minute. Qin Haodong said, what's the hurry? Even if I fail, your stone may not have jade. Besides, I haven't finished yet. Feng Tianda said, are you kidding me? How can there be no jade in the raw stone chosen by Master Gu? He has never failed since his debut, so you are bound to lose this bet. The onlookers also nodded. The reason why Gu Tianfeng was called a master was that he never failed. The only suspense was how much the jade in the stone was worth. Everything is possible. Let's talk about it after I finish. After Qin Haodong said that, he let the two stone-cutting masters continue to cut the stone. Under everyone's gaze, the two big stones that had been cut open were cut again and again, decomposed again and again. But the result was still the same. The cut section was white, and there was no sign of green at all. Don't cut it. You can't get jade even if you cut it into pieces, Feng Tianda said triumphantly. He lost 2 games in a row, and this time he finally won a game. The two stone-cutting masters were busy for a long time and sweated all over. They also said, yes, little brother, according to our experience for so many years, it is impossible to get jade in this stone. Everyone present thought that Qin Haodong had lost, including Qian Duo, and began to feel sorry for Damao and Ermao. It was a pity that the 2 purebred snow mastiffs would be given away like this. Qin Haodong was not discouraged. He could clearly feel that the rich spiritual qi was in a piece of gravel, but in order not to attract attention, he did not directly cut the gravel. Now it was almost time. He said to the stone-cutting masters, you two take a break and let me try again. After that, he did it himself. After cutting 2 pieces of gravel in a row, he took the gravel full of spiritual qi for the 3rd time. Holding the stone in his hand, the perception of spiritual qi became clearer. In the harsh roar, the stone was cut again, just close to the group of spiritual qi. This young man is really stubborn. If this kind of stone can be cut into jade, I will eat it directly. It's no wonder that the 2 dogs are worth 30 million yuan. Anyone who loses will be distressed. As the man was speaking, he suddenly looked at the stone in Qin Haodong's hand and cried out, it's green. Oh my God, I'm not mistaken. It's really green. Qian Duo's eyes suddenly widened. He came to Qin Haodong in a few steps, picked up the stone in his hand and looked at it carefully. He exclaimed, King Green, it's the Ice King Green. Little brother, let me take care of the rest. Don't hurt him. This is the best ice type Imperial Green. After that, without waiting for Qin Haodong's consent, he picked up the stone-cutting machine and began to grind slowly. His movements were as careful and as gentle as possible, as if he was holding a peerless treasure in his hand. Hearing his shout, Gu Tianfeng also came over and squatted down to observe the raw jade stone with a complicated look. About half an hour later, Qian Duo finally finished polishing the raw stone. He picked up the basin next to him and carefully washed it. Soon a piece of the best jade with green light appeared in front of everyone. This piece of jade was not too big, only a circle larger than a tennis ball. The shape was also round, but the green was refreshing and pure like a pool of autumn water, without any impurities. King Green, it's really the Ice King Green. Qian Duo held the jade and shouted excitedly, oh my God, who is this young man? How can he have such good luck? Ice King Green, I've never seen it in my life. It's an eye-opener today. You just said that if you cut out the jade, you would eat it. Now that he cut out the Ice King green, why don't you eat it? Are you kidding me? I just want to eat it. Can he give it to me? Do you know the price of the Ice King green? Who would be willing to give it to me? Little brother, this is yours. Take it. Qian Duoduo reluctantly gave the Ice King green in his hand to Qin Haodong. Although he liked it, he also knew that it did not belong to him. President Qian, how much is this ball worth? Please give me an estimate. Qin Haodong took the jade and asked carelessly, ball. Qian Duoduo almost choked to death on his saliva. It was outrageous that someone called the Ice King green. However, this was someone else's thing, and he didn't care so much. He cleared his throat and said, the Ice King green is generally sold by the gram. The current market price is about 100,000 yuan per gram. Your one is about 500 grams. Before he finished speaking, there was a burst of exclamations in the crowd. This young man's luck was too good. 2 dogs poured urine on it and it was worth more than 50 million yuan. When the crowd quieted down a little, Qian Duoduo continued, but I'm talking about the price of fragmented king green. Generally, it can only be made into a pendant or something. Such a large and complete one is worth far more than 50 million yuan. If there is a suitable buyer, it is not surprising to offer 100 million yuan. Oh my God, it's worth 100 million yuan. I'm going to die. Why didn't I choose it? This stone has been here all day. Why didn't I choose it? Why didn't I choose it? Looking at the king green in Qin Haodong's hand, many people were mad with jealousy. Papa, this glass ball is so beautiful. I want a glass ball. The little fellow didn't know what the Ice King green was. In her eyes, it was just a beautiful glass ball. Then she stretched out her 2 chubby little hands to Qin Haodong. Here you are. Take it and play with it. Qin Haodong said, and very casually sent the king green to the little fellow's hand. Now everyone's eyes widened. What's going on? The king green was used as a glass ball for children to play with. It was worth 100 million yuan. What if it fell to the ground? Tang Tang took the king green in her hand and played with it. Qin Haodong didn't care, but everyone else's heart was in their throat, for fear of falling to the ground. At this time, Qian Duoduo looked at Gu Tianfeng. The stone gambling competition was not over yet. Now it should continue. Mr. Gu, it's your turn. At this time, people found that Gu Tianfeng, who was in high spirits just now, seemed to have lost his soul, and his eyes were dim and lifeless. After hearing Qian Duoduo's question, he murmured, "No, I admit defeat." No wonder he was so discouraged. He had played with jade all his life, but he had never cut out the best king green. At this time, seeing the glass king green in Qin Haodong's hand, he knew that he could not win anyway. If he lost to other masters, he could accept it, but he lost to such a young man in his 20s, who was chosen by a dog. If it was spread out, Gu Tianfeng would have no face to live in the jade world. At this point, Gu Tianfeng was completely disheartened. He announced in public that he would never appraise raw jade gemstones again in this life, and then left the raw gemstone venue with a lonely look. Chapter 71. Gu Tianfeng directly admitted defeat, and the raw jade stone he chose was meaningless. Qian Duoduo announced that Qin Haodong won the bet. This also meant that Feng Tianda not only didn't get Damao and Ermao, but also lost 30 million. Unexpectedly, Zhou Cuizui didn't make a scene this time. Instead, she gave Qin Haodong a hateful look and left. Feng Tianda didn't say much and left the scene. At this time, a middle-aged man in a famous suit came to Qin Haodong and said, "Young man, I'm the general manager of Deshang Jewelry. I want to ask you if you want to sell this king green jade? I'm willing to pay 100 million for it." There was another uproar in the crowd. Just now Qian Duoduo said that this king green jade was worth 100 million. Now someone directly paid for it, which made many people feel complicated, full of envy, jealousy and hatred. Someone said, "Young man, sell it. 100 million is a lot." That's right. Things bought for thousands of yuan can be sold for 100 million. Robbing money is not so fast. The little fellow was playing happily with the king green jade. When she heard someone wanted to buy it, she quickly cried, "No. No, this is Tang Tang's little ball. Qin Haodong smiled at the middle-aged man and said, I'm sorry, my daughter likes it. Let her play with it. I have no intention of selling it for the time being. After he said this, many people's hearts collapsed. They had seen people spoiling their children, but they had never seen such a spoiling child. Even the richest man in the world would not give the king green jade worth 100 million to his child as a glass ball. The middle-aged man was also confused. He calmed down and asked, young man, why don't you think about it again? If the price is not right, we can discuss it. Don't think about it. No amount of money can buy my daughter's happiness. If she likes to play with glass balls, let her play with it. The middle-aged man was speechless. Damn it, was this a glass ball? This was the glass king green jade worth more than 100 million yuan. Although many people didn't agree with Qin Haodong's approach, it belonged to him. He could play with it as he liked. It had nothing to do with them if it was broken. When everyone was indignant, the king green jade slipped out of the little fellow's hand. It happened so suddenly that Qin Haodong had no time to react. There was a burst of exclamation in the crowd. That was 100 million yuan. It was gone. What a waste. What a wastrel. Suddenly a white shadow flashed, and Damao jumped over. He opened his mouth and caught the falling king green jadeite. Then, he lay on Qin Haodong's leg with a proud expression. The little fellow giggled. Fun. This is so fun. Damao, you're great. Not bad, I'll give you bones to eat when we get back. Qin Haodong patted Damao's head and took the wet king green jade from its mouth. He wiped it clean and threw it to the little fellow again. Heavens, he actually gave it to a child to play with. Was he really not afraid of breaking it? Did he really not care about 100 million? Looking at Qin Haodong's casual look, if they hadn't just seen the whole process of the jade being cut out, they would really think that it was just a glass ball instead of an imperial green jade worth over 100 million yuan. At this time, the middle-aged man saw Damao and Ermao. The reason why Qin Haodong could win 3 games in a row and finally get an imperial green jade was because of these 2 dogs. Since the jade was not for sale, he could buy his dogs. As long as he had these 2 dogs who could choose the raw stone, he could get any kind of jade in the future. They were not dogs. They were simply money trees, treasure bowls, and fortune cats. Thinking of this, he said excitedly, little brother, do you sell these 2 dogs? As long as you ask, I will never bargain. His words reminded others, and someone followed and shouted, yes, little brother, you can sell me one. I'll pay 50 million. Little brother, I'll pay 60 million, 70 million. Qin Haodong didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he just wanted to use Damao and Ermao as a camouflage to cover up his ability to see through the raw stone of jade. He didn't expect that the value of these 2 little things would soar. In the blink of an eye, they were worth more than 100 million yuan. Damao and Ermao are my friends. I won't sell them. I won't sell them. The little fellow protested hard. Qin Haodong said loudly, did you hear that? My daughter said she won't sell them. No matter how much you pay, she won't sell them. There was a burst of regret in the crowd. Many people shook their heads again and again. This young man spoiled his children too much. He played with the imperial green jade as a glass ball, and let 2 dogs worth more than 100 million yuan. Was this really good? The matter had been dealt with. After saying goodbye to Qian Duo, Qin Haodong left the raw stone exhibition with Nalan Wushuang and the little fellow. Today's purpose had been successfully completed. Although there were still some raw stones left in the D area, the high-premium raw stones had been excavated through these gambling games, and there were no good things left. At this point, the fine raw stones of the entire Feng's exhibition had entered Qin Haodong's warehouse. It was difficult to find raw stones more than 3 times the premium here. After getting in the car, Nalan Wushuang said, Haodong, that ugly woman left so quietly. I always feel that it's not normal. Do you think she will do something? Qin Haodong said with a smile, that's for sure. Don't you see what we have now? We have 130 million yuan in cash. An imperial green jade worth more than 100 million yuan, plus 2 dogs that can find treasures. Feng Tianda doesn't dare to provoke your Nalan family, but the Jade Gang won't. I guess it won't be long before they come to us. What should we do? Shall I find some people to help? Nalan Wushuang said with a little nervousness. Don't worry, I've arranged it. As long as they dare to come, I will give them a surprise. Qin Haodong said as he started the car and drove forward at a moderate speed. In a secret room of the Feng family, Zhou Cuitsue said to the one-eyed dragon, Meng Gang, hurry up and take people to rob that guy. You must get the 2 dogs back for me, and get the King Green Jade back for me. Feng Tianda quickly said, honey, don't be impulsive. That guy is easy to deal with, but the woman next to him is the eldest daughter of the Nalan family. We can't afford to offend the Nalan family. Useless thing. Zhou Cuitsue glared at him and said, what's there to be afraid of? You can go to Burma with me. No matter how powerful the Nalan family is, can they be more powerful than our Jade Gang? Feng Tianda was speechless for a while. This woman was really ignorant. The Nalan family had a deep foundation. How could the Jade Gang compare with them? However, the Feng family now needed to rely on the Jade Gang. So he naturally didn't dare to say anything more. Zhou Cuitsue turned to Meng Gang and said, go ahead. When that guy runs away, remember not to hurt the 2 dogs. Don't worry, Mississippi. We have so many brothers in the gang. It's very easy to deal with a toy boy. After Meng Gang finished speaking, he left in a hurry with his men. Feng Tianda sighed, but there was no other way. He could only let Zhou Cuitsue do it. Qin Haodong drove out of the exhibition center. The little fellow was really tired after running with him for a day. After getting in the car, she fell asleep in Nalan Wushuang's arms. Even Damao and Ermao were napping in the back seat of the car. It was nothing at first, but after the little fellow fell asleep, she habitually put a little fleshy hand on Nalan Wushuang's chest. This was not surprising. She habitually touched Lin Momo's chest when she slept, but now the object was Nalan Wushuang. But Nalan Wushuang was different from Lin Momo. She had never been married or had a child. Her chest had never been touched by anyone except herself. Her cheeks immediately turned red when the little fellow touched it. She looked to the side with a little embarrassment and found that Qin Haodong was concentrating on driving. He didn't notice her side, so she quietly grabbed the little fellow's hand and took it down. Unexpectedly, although the little fellow fell asleep, she was still very stubborn. She struggled to pull her hand out again and still put it there. From time to time she would grab it twice. Nalan Wushuang tried several times but failed. In the end, she could only let the little fellow grab it. Qin Haodong didn't seem to notice, but in fact he saw all this clearly. There was a smile on his lips inadvertently. At the same time, he was very envious of the little fellow. When could he have such treatment? The car drove forward steadily and entered a remote road. Suddenly there was a flash of light in front of them. A black sedan blocked the way in the middle of the road. Then, a van drove up from behind and blocked the way out. After the 2 cars parked, a dozen men in black with sharp blades jumped out of the cars. They aggressively surrounded Qin Haodong's car. The leader was Zhou Cuitsue's one-eyed man, Meng Gang. They came quite fast. Qin Haodong said with a smile, what should we do? Nalan Wushuang asked. You take the little fellow to have a rest in the car. I'll go down and get rid of these guys. Qin Haodong said as he opened the door and calmly got out of the car. The one-eyed man held a 1-meter-long saber in his hand. A horse. He looked at Qin Haodong and smiled coldly. Boy, you didn't expect that we would meet again so soon, did you? Tell me, what do you want? Qin Haodong asked calmly with his hands behind his back. Hand over the King Green Jade and the 2 dogs, and I can spare your life. Meng Gang's one-eyed man flashed and said, the little girl in your car, I also like her. Leave her for me. He had always been a lecherous man, but he dared to have the idea of Nalan Wushuang. Why? Qin Haodong said. Because of the saber in my hand and the brothers behind me. If you know what's good for you, you can keep your life. If you don't, I will send you to hell immediately. Qin Haodong still looked calm. I tell you, this is Huaxia. It's against the law to do this. Against the law? Meng Gang laughed arrogantly. Which one of the brothers behind me hasn't killed a few people? The law is nothing to us. Don't talk nonsense. If you don't hand over the thing, I will chop you into meat paste immediately. Don't think that we dare not kill people in Huaxia. At most we will go back to Burma. You people, the quality is not good and the number is not large. I don't know who gave you the courage to come to Huaxia and be arrogant. After that, Qin Haodong whistled loudly. Then there was a sound of motors behind him. 6 or 7 green off-road vehicles drove over, and the shining headlights illuminated the night sky. 20 or 30 people jumped out of the off-road vehicles one after another and surrounded Meng Gang and his men. These people were all wearing security uniforms, holding short sticks in their hands. They were agile and quick, and it was obvious that they had extraordinary skills. Meng Gang frowned slightly. He didn't expect that the toy boy in front of him had been prepared and set a trap for him. Chapter 72. After the security guards got out of the car, a 190-meter tall man strode to Qin Haodong and said loudly, "Boss, all 30 security guards of Daddy's security company are here. Captain Zhang Tiniu has finished reporting." This afternoon, when Qin Haodong went to the Daddy security company, he treated all the 50 wounded soldiers that Naylan Wushuang had gathered again. These people naturally joined the Daddy security company. Zhang Tiniu, the squad leader who was reporting, was once a prominent figure in the army. His strength was no less than Chen Fugui's. Later he retired early due to injuries. After being cured by Qin Haodong, he became an 8th-class security guard and team leader of Daddy's security company. After realizing that Zhou Cuitsue was up to no good, Qin Haodong transferred 30 security guards from the security company. They left the exhibition center, and Zhang Tiniu followed them with these people. In fact, he could deal with the one-eyed dragon and the others with his own strength. The reason why he did this was to protect the reputation of Daddy's security company. Qin Haodong said, "These Burmese came to rob us. Let's teach them a lesson." "Don't worry, boss. These small fries aren't enough." After saying that, Zhang Tiniu turned around and walked toward Meng Gang. In the past, when he carried out missions everywhere, even M-Country's SEAL team and Red Beret were no match for him. How could he take these small figures from the Burmese gang seriously? "Brat, don't say that I'm bullying you with numbers. I'll give you a chance to fight me one-on-one. Bring it on." One-eyed dragon's face darkened. Zhang Tiniu looked tall and strong, but he didn't take him seriously. Height was not the key factor in a fight. Courting death. After a roar, he swung the sword in his hand. He chopped down at Zhang Tiniu with his saber. This slash was powerful and heavy. If it hit, it would be enough to cut off an arm. Zhang Tiniu coldly stared at the one-eyed dragon's long saber. When it fell, he suddenly shouted and fiercely swung the short stick in his hand. The short sticks of Daddy's security company were specially customized by Naylan Wushuang, and were completely made of fine steel. Slash horse after the saber and the short stick collided, there was a crisp clang. Meng Gang's perlicue became numb. The saber flew out with a whoosh. He had never imagined that Zhang Tiniu's strength could be so great. He was defeated in one move. Before he realized it, he had been kicked in the chest by Zhang Tiniu's big foot. Meng Gang let out a muffled groan as he was sent flying by the kick. He fell to the ground with a plop and vomited large mouthfuls of blood, unable to get up again. Qin Haodong nodded slightly. Zhang Tiniu was indeed a promising young man. No wonder Naylan Wushuang appointed him as a level 8 security guard. It seemed that he had a lot of room for improvement in the future. "Brothers, let's show these bastards the power of Hut Gang." With a loud shout, Zhang Tiniu waved his short stick and rushed towards the rest of the people. The security guards of Daddy's security company also roared. They used to be excellent soldiers. They finally found a chance to vent after being plagued by injuries and illnesses for such a long time. How could they miss it? They rushed to Meng Gang's men. 2 minutes later, the security guards of Daddy's security company roared. They were all excellent soldiers. After such a long time, they finally found a chance to vent. How could they miss it? They rushed to Meng Gang's men. 2 minutes later, the battle was over. No one from Daddy's security company was injured. Meng Gang and his men were firmly tied up. Meng Gang struggled and shouted, "Boy, I'm from the Jade Gang. Let us go, or our boss won't spare you." Zhang Tiniu slapped him in the face and said, "How can you be so arrogant? The Jade Gang is nothing in the eyes of our boss. Qin Haodong didn't take the Jade Gang seriously. Since Zhou Tsuitsue dared to make trouble for him, he would teach her a lesson. At the same time, he would use them to make an advertisement for Daddy's security company. Soon the police were called. As the lights flickered, Nalan Wuxia rushed over with the members of the crime squad, which was also arranged by Qin Haodong. Meng Gang didn't expect that Qin Haodong would call the police. He said angrily, "Boy, how dare you call the police? Do you still abide by the rules of Jianghu?" Qin Haodong smiled and said, "I'm just a law-abiding doctor. I'm not a Jianghu man. Since you're in hut, I'd like to have a taste of prison food. Don't say we're stingy when we go back." Nalan Wuxia came over, looked at Qin Haodong and asked, "What's the matter? You're making trouble for me again. Do you think the police are too idle?" "What are you talking about? This is a big gift for you." Qin Haodong pointed to a dozen people who were tied up tightly and said, "These people came to Huaxia with knives to commit murder and robbery. I've caught them for you. The evidence is in the car's driving recorder. You just need to bring them back and you can get a reward." "What a good thing. Are you serious?" Nalan Wuxia asked doubtfully. "Of course. Ask your sister if you don't believe me." Qin Haodong pointed to the car. At this time, Nalan Wuxuang got out of the car, and the little fellow was looking around in a daze. Nalan Wuxia waved her hand and directed her men to take Meng Gang and others to the police car. They were taken back to the crime squad, and then she walked to Nalan Wuxuang. What a beautiful little princess. Although Nalan Wuxia was hot-tempered, she liked children very much. When she saw the little fellow, she immediately liked her very much. She asked Nalan Wuxia, "Whose little cutie is this? So beautiful." Nalan Wuxia had been to the scene when Dong Fongliang kidnapped Lin Momo last time. But she was busy handling the case and didn't notice the little fellow at all. She didn't know that she was Lin Momo's daughter. When the little fellow saw Nalan Wuxia, she immediately became energetic. She stretched out her two chubby little hands and cried, "Police auntie hug." Nalan Wuxia happily took the little fellow. The little fellow wriggled restlessly in her arms. Next to her, Qin Haodong smiled again. It seemed that his good daughter had gone to explore for him again. Sure enough, the little fellow said to Qin Haodong, "Papa, the police auntie is so beautiful. Can you be my third mother?" Nalan Wuxia knew that the little fellow was the adopted daughter that Qin Haodong had mentioned, but she still asked in surprise, "Little cutie, why third mother?" The little fellow said solemnly, "Because I already have mama and second mama. Auntie can only be the third mother." Nalan Wuxia glared at Qin Haodong and said, "It's all your teaching. Aren't you afraid of leading a bad child?" Qin Haodong said with a little embarrassment, "Well, it has nothing to do with me. My daughter is completely self-taught." The little fellow cried, "It's not Papa who taught me, but Papa said that I can find 7 mama at most." Well, Qin Haodong was afraid that the little fellow would say something else, so he quickly changed the topic and said, "Officer Nalan, there may be a mastermind behind these people. Please investigate it thoroughly." He knew very well that Zhou Tsuitsue must have sent Meng Gang here. It was better to arrest the ugly woman and put her in prison together. "Well, I'll go back now and work on the case as soon as possible." Nalan Wuxia returned the little fellow to Nalan Wuxuang, and then left with her people. Zhang Tiniu also returned to Daddy's security company with 30 security guards. After getting in the car, Qin Haodong said to Nalan Wuxuang, "Please contact the newspaper reporters about this matter and focus on reporting it. It will definitely make Daddy's security company famous." "Don't worry, it's very easy." Nalan Wuxuang understood Qin Haodong's intention and said, "In fact, now Daddy's security company has a little reputation in the upper circle." "Really? So fast?" Qin Haodong asked in surprise. The upper circle of Jiangnan City is not so big, and some news still spread very fast. Nalan Wuxuang said, "Last time you took Saber and several people to teach Wei Tianlei of Thor's security company a lesson in Lin's group, and the divine mercenaries became Lin Momo's bodyguard. Then you took Chan Fuguwei and others to sweep Lu Huaqiang's Duku Film and Television Culture Company. The two things together have made the upper circle know the existence of Daddy's security company. But before, they only knew that there was a powerful security company, but they didn't know its name." I believe that after today, Daddy's security company will be famous in Jiangnan City. Qin Haodong nodded with satisfaction. This was the effect he wanted. After sending Nalan Wushuang back, he returned to Lin's villa with the little fellow. Lin Momo, wearing a white home dress, sat in the living room watching TV and waiting for them to come back. After seeing Qin Haodong enter the door, she asked with some dissatisfaction, "It's so late. Why did you come back so late?" Mama, I went to play with Daddy. It was fun." The little fellow excitedly jumped into Lin Momo's arms and gave the king green in her hand to her. "Mama, look at the big glass ball." Lin Momo held the little fellow and kissed her. When she saw the appearance of the king green, she immediately widened her eyes. She was the president of Lin's group and was very good at the jewelry industry. She would not think that it was really a glass ball like ordinary people. This is the king green." She carefully took the king green and said, "Where did it come from?" "It was made from a stone by Papa. Papa is so powerful that he can make a glass ball from a stone," the little fellow said proudly. Although it was not very clear, Lin Momo still guessed it. She looked at Qin Haodong in surprise and said, "Did you cut this stone?" "Yes." Qin Haodong nodded indifferently. "Do you know what this is? Do you know how much it is worth?" Lin Momo asked excitedly. She had been in charge of Lin's group for many years. Although she had seen countless jewelry, she had never seen such a big king green. I know. The little fellow rushed to say, "Mama, someone offered 1 yuan but Papa didn't sell it." Qin Haodong looked at Lin Momo's surprised eyes and said, "Not 1 yuan, 100 million yuan. I'm not very good at jade. Someone said that this is the Ice King green, and they offered 100 million yuan to buy it. I saw that Tang Tang liked it very much, so I let her play with it. I didn't sell it." Lin Momo was also a little shocked. 100 million yuan, how much was that? As the eldest daughter of Lin's family, she had saved for so many years to have 100 million yuan of private money. Chapter 73. Lin Momo was keenly aware that a lot of things must have happened tonight, but seeing that the little fellow was so sleepy that she rubbed her eyes, she decided to let her sleep first. Soon, they coaxed the little fellow to sleep in the bedroom. Lin Momo pulled Qin Haodong and whispered, "Come with me." They went to the study next door together, and Qin Haodong said with a playful smile, "Mom, why are you looking for me behind my back so late at night?" After that, he glanced at the big bed next to him intentionally or unintentionally. "You're glib and not serious." "I have serious business." Lin Momo rolled her eyes at him and said, "What's going on tonight? Tell me quickly." Qin Haodong had known that Lin Momo would definitely ask, so he told her what had happened in the exhibition center today from beginning to end. Lin Momo was surprised. When he finished, she asked, "You said that you bought 100 million yuan of raw jade stones and won consecutive bets with Gu Tianfeng?" Qin Haodong said, "Of course 100 million yuan has been spent, and the king green jade is also there." "How did you do it?" Lin Momo asked. "What did you say? Don't play dumb. How did you win 3 games in a row? Why is it that every stone you choose has an expensive jadeite in it? You even got a piece of imperial jade? Didn't I tell you that Damao and Ermao were lucky? They helped me choose the stones. Don't lie to me. You also chose a piece of raw jade stone in my venue. What do you say? If you say so, it can only be my good luck. I've long heard that good luck comes with good character. It seems that it's true." Looking at Qin Haodong's smiling face, Lin Momo was so angry that she gritted her teeth. But she had no choice but to believe this explanation. After laughing, Qin Haodong said seriously, "I've finished my work. Now I need you to do something." "What do you want me to do?" Lin Momo asked in surprise. "When you go to work tomorrow, let someone spread the news that the stones of the Feng's group are not the old ones from Burma at all, but some fakes." Before Qin Haodong could finish, Lin Momo said, "How is that possible? I've sent someone to check it. The stones of the Feng family are indeed of the old pit type from Burma. They are authentic and good. No one will believe it." "What's the rush? I have my reasons for saying that." Qin Haodong said, "No one will believe this rumor alone. But if the Feng's group can't cut out raw jade stones with a premium rate of more than 3 times, What do you think people will think? This? Lin Momo hesitated and said, then you should believe it, but how is it possible? If you can choose the imperial green jade from them, others can naturally choose good things with a particularly high premium rate. Qin Haodong gave Lin Momo a meaningful look. Believe me, the Fengs will never produce good raw stones again. You just need to spread the news. When the guests can't buy good stones from the Fengs, they will naturally return to the Lin's group. At that time the Fengs can only watch. Lin Momo had been in the business world for a long time and was very smart. Otherwise, she would not have become the president of the Lin's group in her 20s. She immediately reacted and exclaimed, "You mean you bought those stones?" Qin Haodong changed his face into a playful smile. "I don't mean anything. You just need to do what I say. I'm sure you can achieve the success of this exhibition and trample on the Fengs." Lin Momo knew that there must be something Qin Haodong didn't tell her, but she didn't ask again. Everyone had secrets. "What about the stones you bought? Where did you put them?" Qin Haodong said, "I put them in the daddy security company. It's the safest place. There must be good things in those stones. Why don't you sell them? Now our Lin's group is short of good materials." Qin Haodong shook his head and said, "No, I kept them for the little fellow to pay her tuition." "You?" Lin Momo was angry for a moment. How could the Lin's group not afford the little fellow's tuition? Qin Haodong said, "These stones are not suitable for sale for the time being. Otherwise, it will arouse the suspicion of the Fengs." Lin Momo immediately reacted. If the Lin's group really didn't have raw jade stones with a premium rate of more than 3 times, and the Lin's group continuously had good materials today, it would definitely arouse the Fengs group's suspicion. It was easy for people to associate it with Qin Haodong. In fact, she didn't know that Qin Haodong had another intention. The preliminary value of these raw jade stones should be between 1 billion and 2 billion yuan. If they were given to Lin Momo, she would selflessly give them to the Lin's group based on her character. However, Qin Haodong only had his own woman and the little fellow in his eyes. He had nothing to do with the Lin's group, and it was impossible for him to give such a large amount of wealth away. "I understand. I won't tell anyone about this," Lin Momo said. Qin Haodong took out a few checks from his pocket and gave them to Lin Momo. He said, "Today I transferred 100 million yuan from your card. Here is exactly 100 million yuan. Take it." Lin Momo said, "You've helped our group so much. I don't want the money." After a pause she said, "Don't worry. Those raw jade stones are yours. I won't take any of them." Qin Haodong was secretly amused. This woman had made it so clear to him. The reason why he returned the money to Lin Momo was that he didn't want her to leave a gossip in the Lin's group in the future. "I've said that I borrowed the money. It's easy to return it. Besides, I'm helping you. It has nothing to do with the Lin's group." "All right then." Seeing Qin Haodong's firm attitude, Lin Momo hesitated and took the check. But she said, "That king green jade is too valuable. Take it back quickly." "Don't give it to Tang Tang as a toy," Qin Haodong said with a smile. "Since Tang Tang likes it, I'll give it to her." Lin Momo waved her hand repeatedly. "No, absolutely not. It's too valuable. You better take it back." "What do I do with it? You know I'm a man. I hate green the most." But Lin Momo still wanted to say something, but she was directly interrupted by Qin Haodong. "No buts. No matter how valuable that thing is, it's just a stone. How can it compare with my daughter? When she's done playing with it, you too can take it to make a set of jewelry. It's useless for me to keep it." Lin Momo hesitated and said, "Still not. If I say yes, then yes." Qin Haodong said as he took 2 steps forward and looked directly into Lin Momo's eyes. "I'm your man. You must listen to me." Lin Momo's cheeks were red. She didn't dare to look directly into Qin Haodong's eyes. She whispered, "Who said you're my man? Isn't it enough for me to say that? Seems that you want me to confirm it." Qin Haodong said as he held Lin Momo in his arms and kissed her heavily. Lin Momo's body stiffened. She wanted to push Qin Haodong away, but when she thought of the scene 4 years ago, she couldn't help but feel hot all over. She couldn't exert any strength in her hands, but she held Qin Haodong's solid back tightly. After kissing for a long time, Qin Haodong picked Lin Momo up and walked to the big bed next to him. Just as he pressed Lin Momo on the bed and was about to confirm that he was her man, the door behind him was suddenly pushed open. "Papa, Mama, don't fight." The little fellow's voice was like a basin of cold water in the middle of winter, instantly extinguishing the burning flames in their bodies. Qin Haodong quickly got up from the bed, and Lin Momo also nervously tidied up her clothes. "Papa, Mama, you can't fight. Don't leave me," the little fellow said as she cried. Her pretty little face was full of sadness and grievance. "Tang Tang, don't cry." Qin Haodong quickly squatted in front of the little fellow and comforted her. "I didn't fight with Mama. Papa is a liar. I saw it clearly. I was fighting with Mama," the little fellow said as she sobbed. "Tang Tang, it really wasn't a fight. Mama was a little uncomfortable just now. Papa is a doctor and is treating Mama. If you don't believe me, you can ask Mama." "Is that so, Mama? Mama?" the little fellow asked Lin Momo very seriously. Lin Momo had tidied up the messy clothes. She glared at Qin Haodong, thinking that what they had just done was treating. The blush on her face that had just subsided came back again. "Yes, Tang Tang. Mama had a stomachache, and Papa was treating Mama." "Oh, is Mama all right now? Do you want Papa to continue to treat Mama?" The little fellow believed the lie made up by the two people. "No, Mama is all right now," Lin Momo said awkwardly. Seeing that it was finally over, Qin Haodong breathed a sigh of relief. He took the little fellow's little hand and said, "Tang Tang, aren't you asleep? Why are you awake again?" "I had a dream. I dreamed that Papa and Mama were fighting, and then they didn't want me anymore. I became a child without Papa and Mama." Speaking of this, the little fellow cried again. Obviously, she was very sad. "No, Tang Tang, don't cry. Papa and Mama will never leave Tang Tang." Lin Momo and Qin Haodong comforted the little fellow together, which made her stop crying and smile. It was not easy to coax the little fellow to sleep again. Lin Momo said, "It's so late. You better go back to sleep. You know it's so late, but you still want to drive me away. How about I sleep here tonight?" Looking at Lin Momo's curvy figure, Qin Haodong couldn't help but swallow. "No, what if Tang Tang wakes up again? We can't always lie to the child." After what had just happened, Lin Momo had a little psychological barrier. Qin Haodong had no choice but to get out of bed. His daughter was good, but sometimes she would also ruin his good things. After kissing the cheeks of the two beauties, he turned around and left the room. As soon as he left the gate of Lin's villa, he saw a black shadow coming from afar before he returned home. The black shadow was very fast and silent, like a ghost in the night. Obviously, it was a master. Qin Haodong hid himself and wanted to see what this person did. However, he saw the black shadow directly came to the vicinity of Lin's villa, observed the surrounding situation, and jumped in. Chapter 74. Qin Haodong wanted to know the purpose of his coming to Lin's villa. If it had something to do with the previous assassinations, he must find out who was behind the scenes. He followed the black shadow into Lin's villa and closely monitored it with his powerful spirit perception. The black shadow was very agile. According to Qin Haodong's judgment, he should have reached the 8th level of overt power, and he was obviously very good at lightness kung fu. Since the divine mercenaries took over the safety of Lin Momo, there were 2 people on duty outside Lin's villa every night. Today it was Tomahawk and Whip. As members of the mercenary group, Tomahawk and Whip were very experienced. Even so, the black shadow penetrated their defense with exquisite body movement and invisibility and entered Lin's villa quietly. The black shadow lightly climbed to the platform on the 2nd floor, took out a small bamboo tube from his pocket, and blew a wisp of white smoke into it. After waiting quietly for 2 or 3 minutes, he opened the window and jumped into the villa. Qin Haodong saw it clearly from behind. The smoke that the black shadow blew out was the smoke commonly used by thieves. There was no killing intent on him. His technique and method were more like a thief than a killer, so he was not in a hurry to make a move. Sure enough, after entering the villa, The black shadow began to search room by room. It seemed that he was looking for something valuable. Soon, he slowly came to the bedroom of Lin Momo and the little fellow. Qin Haodong followed the black shadow closely. Once he had the killing intent on the mother and daughter, he would kill him as fast as lightning. The black shadow entered the room quietly. He did not pay attention to people but searched around. Suddenly, he saw the king green jade beside the little fellow's pillow. He immediately grabbed it in his hand and turned away. Qin Haodong's tense expression immediately relaxed a lot. It seemed that he was really just a thief, not a killer. Although the king green jade was worth more than 100 million yuan, Qin Haodong did not stop him. This person obviously came with a purpose. He was not sure whether there was someone behind it, so he had to follow the black shadow to find out the truth. After the black shadow succeeded, he obviously relaxed a lot. When he left, he was not as cautious as when he entered. Perhaps he had enough confidence in his knockout smoke and thought that all the people in the villa had been knocked out. But he didn't know that there were 2 dogs in the room. After Damao and Ermao were cleansed, this kind of ordinary sleeping gas had no effect on them. When they sensed that a stranger had entered, they immediately barked and pounced towards the black figure. The black shadow was startled. It obviously didn't expect that there were 2 dogs in the villa, and they weren't knocked down by the smoke. At this time, he had already got the king green jade. He didn't want to stay any longer, so he jumped out of the window directly. However, the roar of Damao and Ermao had aroused the vigilance of Tomahawk and Whip. They immediately found the shadow jumping out of the window. The 2 of them were shocked. Qin Haodong asked them to protect Lin Momo here, but they didn't notice when the shadow went in. If something happened to Lin Momo and the little fellow, they would have no face to face their boss. Thinking of this, the 2 of them roared and pounced at the black shadow together. 2 bright short axes appeared in Tomahawk's hands, and with a murderous aura, he chopped at the black shadow's upper body. A long black whip appeared in Whip's hands. It was like a spirit snake in the night, and it swept to the legs of the black shadow. The 2 of them were in the same mercenary group, so they had a tacit understanding and blocked all the retreat of the black shadow. In the face of the attack of the 2 masters, the black shadow was shocked but not confused. His body was pulled up more than 2 meters high, and he swept over the heads of Whip and Tomahawk. Such a brilliant lightness skill was also beyond the expectation of Whip and Tomahawk. They didn't make a move, so they quickly turned back to attack again. A short axe in Tomahawk's hands turned into a ray of cold light, and he chopped at the back of the black shadow. The long whip of Whip also turned into a whip shadow all over the sky and swept over. The black shadow didn't look back. He sideways to avoid the whistling short axe, but this was his limit. He could no longer avoid the long whip behind him, and his left shoulder was swept at once. He staggered forward 2 steps, but he still didn't stop. He ran forward quickly and shouted at the same time, "Go and save people, or it will be too late." This person's voice was very clear, and it turned out to be a woman. Tomahawk and Whip, who originally wanted to continue to chase, were shocked. In contrast, the safety of Lin Momo and the little fellow was more important. They didn't dare to chase the black shadow anymore, but jumped into the villa. The black shadow led away the 2 strong enemies, Tomahawk and Whip, and soon disappeared into the night. She ran all the way, and after more than half an hour, she came to the door of a huge courtyard. There was no light in the courtyard, and there was a shabby plaque hanging at the door. There was an orphanage. The courtyard of the orphanage was very large, and there were many houses inside, but they looked very shabby, and should have been repaired for a long time. The black shadow jumped into the courtyard from the low wall, and then walked into a room. But this time she pushed the door open, and it was obvious that this was her residence. After entering the room, she lit a lamp, and then took off the mask on her face, and took off her night clothes. Although the light was dim, it could still be seen that this was a very beautiful girl, and her age was about 20 years old. The girl took out a small bottle and some gauze from the side of the shabby drawer, and then took off her clothes with a painful look, revealing half of her snow-white arm. Whip's cultivation had reached the 8th level of overt power, and his whip skills were even more superb. Although the long whip in his hand just swept the girl's shoulder, it still made the skin and flesh torn, and it looked a little shocking. The girl applied the ointment in the small bottle to the wound on her shoulder, and then wrapped it with gauze. But from her frowning brows and pale face, it could be seen that the effect of the ointment was not very good. After doing all this, she took out the king green jade from her pocket, and finally a gratified smile bloomed on her face, which looked a little strange against the green light. "How is it? My stuff is good, right?" A voice suddenly rang out in the room. The girl was shocked and quickly put the king green jade into her pocket, and then suddenly turned back, and there was a shining dagger in her hand. She saw a young man looking at her with a smile, and cried in horror, It's you. How did you find me?" Qin Haodong smiled slightly. "You stole my stuff and I followed you." He was sure that the girl was just a one-legged thief, and there was neither a mastermind behind her, nor an accomplice, so he no longer hid and walked directly into the room. The girl was secretly surprised. Her lightness skill could be said to be the best, but this person could quietly follow behind her, and she didn't notice it at all, which was enough to show that his cultivation was high. "Give it to me. This is my daughter's thing, and it's time to return it to its original owner," Qin Haodong said, and reached out his right hand to the girl. No. The girl took a few steps back after saying that, and nervously held the king green jade in her pocket. "That's not good." Qin Haodong was amused by her and said, as the saying goes, there is also a way for thieves. As a thief, you have been found by the owner of the stolen goods, so why not obediently return the stolen goods? The girl lowered her head slightly, and bit her lips with a complicated look. After a moment she raised her head and said, "Yes, according to the rules of the Steel Sect, I should return it to you, but this thing is too important to me. As long as you can give it to me, I can promise you anything you want." As she said that, she gently took off her gown, and slowly took off her coat, leaving only her black underwear. Under the dim light, the girl's white skin shone with an attractive brilliance, and her curvaceous figure made people have infinite reverie. Qin Haodong was not moved at all. He smiled faintly, pulled a chair and sat down. Then he looked at the furnishings and decorations in the room. Most of them were dilapidated. Then he looked at the clothes the girl had taken off. They were all street goods that cost dozens of yuan, and it seemed that they had been worn for a long time. "Do you know how much the thing in your hand is worth?" he asked. "Yes," the girl said, "I saw it in the exhibition center today. Someone offered 100 million yuan for it." "Then why do you want me to give it to you? Do you really think you are so valuable? 100 million yuan is enough for me to find a woman for the rest of my life." The girl gritted her teeth and said, "As long as you give it to me, I can not only sleep with you, but also kill for you, steal for you, and do everything for you." Qin Haodong looked at the girl with a firm look and asked with interest, "I can see that you are not a woman who loves money very much. Why are you willing to pay such a high price? Give me a reason." "Reason? What else do you want?" The girl suddenly became very excited, and she shouted at Qin Haodong, "You rich people can eat good food and wear good clothes, live in villas, drive luxury cars, and give a treasure worth 100 million yuan to your daughter as a toy. But have you ever thought about how many poor children there are in the world? They have no parents, no one to rely on, and can only gather in these shabby houses to barely survive. But now the houses are going to collapse. Where do you want them to live? Do you want them to sleep on the road?" After the girl shouted, her already very full chest rose and fell violently, and her eyes were full of anger and unwillingness. Qin Haodong looked at her quietly, and did not speak for a long time. After a while he said lightly, "I earned my money with my own ability. Poverty can't be a reason for you to steal." The girl also calmed down a lot, and she said, "That's why I want to exchange with you, with my body, with everything I have. Do you want to use the money exchanged for this jade to renovate the house here?" The girl did not speak this time, but nodded firmly. "Tell me your story. If it can move me, maybe I will give it to you," Qin Haodong said. "Really? Are you really willing to give it to me?" The girl could not believe it. Qin Haodong smiled at her and said, "Not yet. It depends on your performance later. As long as you tell me everything honestly, maybe I can help you. Now what you need to do is to put on your clothes first." Chapter 75. I was an orphan abandoned by my parents when I was a child. I was picked up by the old dean here and grew up here. The old dean was a good person, and he made sure that the children here felt at home. But because of the limited conditions, the children in the orphanage had to leave after the age of 16, and I was no exception. I left the orphanage on my 16th birthday. Because I had no education and no skills, I drifted in the society after I left, working everywhere to make a living. Until one day, I met a crazy old Taoist who was a fortune teller. He said that my body was very suitable for the inheritance of the steel sect, so he taught me a set of cultivation methods and ways of stealing. Qin Haodong nodded secretly. The 6 people of the divine mercenaries were stuck in the 7th level of overt power when they were in their 30s. Finally, they reached the 8th level of overt power with his help. But this girl had reached this level at the age of 20, which showed that she was very talented. I had nowhere to go at that time, so I learned from the old Taoist for 3 months. Then the old Taoist left. When he left, he repeatedly told me that I must abide by the rules of the steel sect. I could only steal ill-gotten money and rob the rich to help the poor. Later, I made a living by stealing, but the money I stole was taken back to the orphanage to improve the lives of my brothers and sisters. Qin Haodong could feel that what the girl said was from the bottom of her heart. I've seen your level of stealing. It's really high. According to your level, you should be able to steal a lot of money. Why does it seem that you don't have a good life? The girl said with a wry smile. I thought so, but I realized that it's not that easy to steal until I actually did it. Restricted by the rules of the steel sect, the people I could steal were limited to corrupt officials and bullies. There were not many of them. Although these people were rich, they didn't have much cash in their homes. Basically, they had fixed assets and stored them in the bank. In this case, I could not steal much money at a time. Especially in recent years, people pay directly with their mobile phones without money in their pockets, which makes it more and more difficult for the steel sect to do business. They have all the skills, but they can't steal money. Qin Haodong said. Why didn't you steal something valuable? Can't you exchange it for money? The girl shook her head and said, I'm alone everywhere I go. Even if I steal something valuable, I don't have a way to sell it. Moreover, I might even implicate the orphanage. So I basically take cash and don't touch anything else. Then why did you break the rules and steal my jade this time? The girl blushed and said, the house in the orphanage is too shabby. Recently, it has been the rainy season in Jiangnan. Many of the younger brothers and sisters' rooms are leaking, and some are even showing signs of collapse. That's why I wanted to get more money to renovate the orphanage, so that my younger siblings could live a better life. But it required a lot of money and it was too difficult. It just so happens that there will be a raw gemstone exhibition at the convention center in the next 2 days. I feel that those who buy raw gemstones there are all rich people, so I want to try my luck there. When I got there, I happened to see you get this king green jade. Someone even offered 100 million yuan. I was tempted. As long as I could get this piece of jade, I would be able to renovate all the rooms in the orphanage and install air conditioners in each room. So I decided to make an exception. Anyway, you are rich and don't care about losing a toy. So I quietly followed you to the villa and got the jade. But I didn't expect that you had such a powerful bodyguard. I was injured and you followed me here. Qin Haodong was moved after hearing this. This girl was really a grateful girl. She was willing to sacrifice herself for the children in the orphanage, which was commendable. He raised his hand to stop the girl's acupoints, and then took the king green jade from the girl's pocket. The girl was in a state of absent-mindedness. Seeing that Qin Haodong took the jade back, her eyes flashed with unconcealable sadness and disappointment. Qin Haodong didn't stop. After putting the jade in his pocket, he gently pulled off the girl's shirt. What are you going to do? The girl suddenly panicked. She was fearless when she took off her clothes, but now she didn't have the courage. But now her acupoints were restricted, and she couldn't move even if she wanted to. Qin Haodong reached out and pulled off the gauze wrapped around her shoulder. Then he took out a small white jade bottle from his pocket, picked out the black ointment from it with his fingertips, and gently applied it to the girl's injured shoulder. The girl only felt a coolness on the wound on her shoulder, and the pain just disappeared. Knowing that he was treating her injury, She immediately relaxed a lot. The black ointment in the jade bottle was the bone regeneration ointment made by Qin Haodong, which had a miraculous effect on this kind of trauma. After applying the ointment, he helped the girl comb the injured meridians with greenwood genuine qi. Soon, the whip wound on the girl's shoulder was healed. Qin Haodong helped her put on her clothes again and unblocked her acupoints. The girl tidied up her clothes, looked at Qin Haodong with a complicated expression, and said, "Brother, thank you, you're welcome. I'm just a doctor. It's nothing." The girl hesitated, bit her lip and said, "Since you're so rich, can't you help these children? Yes, I was really touched by your story, but this jade is a gift I promised to my daughter. I can't give it to you." When the girl fell into disappointment again, Qin Haodong took out a cash check from his pocket and gave it to her. "This is 30 million. That's all I have. But it should be enough to renovate the house of the orphanage." The girl looked at the check in front of her and looked at Qin Haodong in confusion. "Brother, are you really willing to help us?" Qin Haodong said with a smile, "At least for now. If you don't take it away, I'm not sure." "Brother, thank you." The girl took the check and began to take off her clothes again. Qin Haodong quickly pressed her arm and said, "What are you going to do?" The girl said excitedly, "Brother, as long as you are willing to take out so much money to help us, I know there's no free lunch in the world. I can only repay you with my body." Qin Haodong said, "No need. Since I want to help you, I don't expect anything in return." The girl knelt in front of Qin Haodong and said, "Brother, on behalf of all the children in the orphanage, thank you. I told you no need. If there's nothing else, I'll go back." Qin Haodong helped the girl up and turned to leave. Brother, wait a minute." The girl stopped Qin Haodong. Is there anything else?" Brother, I'm really sorry to take so much money from you. I still have some things here. Can you see if there's anything that you can use? It's a little compensation." Then the girl squatted down and pulled out a snakeskin bag from under the bed. After opening it, there were some antiques like vases and jades in it. What's this?" Qin Haodong asked. The year before last, there was a corrupt official who embezzled the money allocated to the orphanage. I went to his house in anger, but I didn't find much cash. In the end, I took all the antiques from his house. I didn't have a sales channel after I took these things, so I just put them under the bed. Brother, you can take them if you can use them." Then she poured all the things in the bag on the ground for Qin Haodong to choose. Qin Haodong looked down at these things and found that there was no spiritual qi at all. It was obvious that they were fake. It seemed that the corrupt official was also a layman and collected such worthless things. These are all fakes. They can't be sold for much money. Just deal with them casually. Then Qin Haodong turned around and was about to leave. Suddenly, his eyes locked on a ring next to a vase. The ring looked gray and dark. It didn't look like a good thing at all, but he was so fascinated by it that his hand trembled slightly when he reached out. Holding the ring in his hand, Qin Haodong slowly closed his eyes. At this moment he had clearly felt that this was a storage ring, and it was the best of the best. Storage rings could be seen everywhere in the cultivation world. They were almost essential items for cultivators. This thing could form a three-dimensional space independently and was a mobile warehouse. It was very convenient to store things and was every cultivator's favorite. But after he came to the earth, storage rings became rare items. Although he had the ability to refine them, there was no raw material with space property here, so it was impossible to refine them. When he first returned to the earth, he was very uncomfortable without a storage ring. He didn't expect to meet one by chance today. Pa's storage ring would only appear in the form of a ring when it was just refined and the owner died. Once it recognized the owner, it would form an independent space in the owner's body. This ring was obviously not a new one, so the owner should be dead. The owner of the storage ring must be a cultivator. A dead cultivator was likely to leave a lot of magic tools and items, which made Qin Haodong look forward to it very much. After all, it was too difficult to cultivate step by step in a place like the earth where spiritual qi was scarce. He could only improve his cultivation with the help of external forces. But in front of the girl, he couldn't let the storage ring recognize the owner immediately, so he could only suppress the impulse in his heart. I want this thing." Qin Haodong said. P okay, you can take it if you need it. P seeing that he liked the ring, the girl was very happy and didn't show any reluctance. P Qin Haodong put away the storage ring. In his heart this ring was priceless. Even 10 people couldn't buy it with 30 million yuan. P from this point of view he was very grateful to the girl. If the girl hadn't stolen his jade, he wouldn't have such a big unexpected gain. P how long have you been at this level? Qin Haodong asked. P it's been almost half a year. In the past it was easy to break through when I was cultivating. At most 3 months I would be promoted by one realm. But after I reached the 8th level of overt power I encountered a bottleneck. I couldn't break through no matter how many times I tried. P the girl looked regretful when she talked about it. She didn't know that it was already very enchanting to be able to reach the 8th level of overt power in just a few years without any external help. Even some inner disciples of the sect didn't have such a speed. P Qin Haodong took out a small spirit culturing pill and gave it to the girl. Eat it. I'll help you break through. It's your compensation. P what? Brother, are you right? Can you really help me break through? P the girl's expression was one of excitement and surprise. P to tell you the truth, this ring is very precious and important to me. Qin Haodong said, don't doubt my words. Eat the pill and I'll help you break through immediately. P the girl no longer hesitated. She grabbed the spirit culturing pill and put it into her mouth, then sat cross-legged on the bed. P. Chapter 76. Qin Haodong came to the girl and put his right hand on the Baihui acupoint on the top of her head. Then he poured greenwood genuine qi into her body to help her melt the power of the little strengthening pill. Pa the genuine qi entered her body. Qin Haodong clearly felt that the girl had excellent root and much wider meridians than ordinary people. She was indeed a genius in martial arts. 10 minutes later, the bottleneck that had troubled the girl for a long time was easily broken with the help of Qin Haodong. Her cultivation directly reached the early stage of the 9th level of overt power. Feeling the powerful genuine qi in her body, the girl was happy. She jumped out of bed and bowed deeply to Qin Haodong. Brother, please accept me. What do you mean? Qin Haodong asked in confusion. He didn't understand what she wanted to say for a while. The crazy Taoist once told my fortune. He said that when I reached the 8th level of overt power, I would encounter the first bottleneck in my life. If I didn't meet a benefactor, I wouldn't be able to break through. On the contrary, if someone could help me break through the bottleneck, he would be my benefactor. He said that I must follow the benefactor so that I can get a big chance. Qin Haodong thought that the crazy Taoist was really a master. He could accurately predict what would happen a few years later. He thought about it. Although the divine mercenaries were very strong, they were all men. Especially at night, there were still loopholes in the protection of Lin Momo. Today was the most obvious example. Now that the mastermind behind the scenes had not been found out, it was possible to assassinate Lin Momo again at any time. It was perfect to put the girl in front of him to protect Lin Momo. Well, from today on you will follow me. My name is Qin Haodong. I am a doctor. You can call me boss in the future. Piao Qianqian, thank you, boss. The girl said to Qin Haodong respectfully. If there is nothing else, you can go with me now. I will find a professional to help you renovate the orphanage. Thank you, boss. Piao Qianqian was overjoyed. Although she had cultivation and the ability to steal, she knew nothing about renovating a house. There was no one in the orphanage who could do it. It would be best if Qin Haodong could find a professional to help him. She didn't have too many things. After simply packing some belongings, she left the orphanage with Qin Haodong. After returning to the number 6 villa, Qin Haodong asked Yao Qianqian to choose a guest room for herself and then hurried back to his own room. He wanted to make the storage ring recognize him as the owner as soon as possible and see what was inside. After closing the door, he held the storage ring in his palm. He didn't get a good look at it when he was with Yao Qianqian, so he had to take a good look at it now. The ring was completely gray and looked ordinary. Upon closer inspection, there were patterns carved on the inner wall. If others saw it, they would not be able to recognize what it was, but Qin Haodong did. It was an ancient language of the cultivation world, which translated into modern words, fairyland. Qin Haodong understood it, but he didn't understand what it meant. Could it be that this storage ring came from a sect called Fairyland or other cultivation forces? After looking at it for a long time, he still couldn't understand the meaning of these two words. In the end, he simply gave up and let the ring recognize him as its owner. He used his powerful primordial spirit power to cover the ring. Because it was ownerless, it easily recognized him as its master. After a flash of light, it disappeared, and a circle of black patterns appeared on his middle finger. Qin Haodong looked at the ring with his divine thoughts and immediately entered an empty space. Originally, he had great hopes for this storage ring, thinking that he could get the inheritance of the predecessor cultivators, but after coming in, he found that there was nothing here. The only thing that pleased him was that this storage ring had a large space of nearly 100 cubic meters, while the one he had in his previous life was only dozens of square meters. After reading it, Qin Haodong was slightly disappointed. Now his cultivation had reached the peak of the 9th level of overt power, but he practiced cultivation methods which required a lot of spiritual qi. If he didn't rely on external forces such as treasures or spirit stones, it would be difficult to reach the Zhuji realm. Fortunately, it was much more convenient with the storage ring. He put all the things he used with him, such as medicinal materials, into the storage ring. After tidying up, he found that he had become a pauper again. Although he had won 130 million yuan through stone gambling in the exhibition center a few hours ago, he had spent it all in the blink of an eye. There were only a few 100,000 yuan left in his pocket. The next morning when Qin Haodong got up, Yao Qianqian was already waiting at the door. After a night of cultivation, her cultivation of the 9th level of overt power had been completely stabilized, and her breath was stable and strong. They came to the Lin's villa together. As soon as they entered the courtyard, Axe and Whip came over. Boss, I'm sorry. We failed our duty last night. Please punish us. Last night, they rushed into the Lin's villa, only to find that the people in the building had been drugged. However, the toxicity of this kind of drugging was not great, and it could only make people fall into a deep sleep for a short time. Although it was a close call, they were still scared and broke into a cold sweat. They felt sorry for Qin Haodong, so they came here early in the morning to ask for forgiveness. Qin Haodong waved his hand and said, "Forget it. I know what happened. It's not all your fault." He pulled Yao Qianqian and introduced her to them. "This is the new member of our daddy security company, and also one of the 9th level security guards. She will protect Momo and the little fellow closely in the future, so that you will be fine." Thank you, boss. Axe and Whip said hello to Yao Qianqian after thanking Qin Haodong. Obviously, they did not recognize that she was the man in black from last night. They were very happy to have Yao Qianqian join them. Because of her gender, the people of the divine mercenaries could only guard outside at night, which made it more difficult. It would be much better if there was someone guarding inside the villa. After that, Qin Haodong took Yao Qianqian into the Lin's villa and introduced her to Lin Momo and others. Lin Momo already knew that they were drugged last night. She was shocked and broke into a cold sweat. Fortunately, she and the little fellow were not hurt. Because of this, she was very happy to have Qin Haodong's new female bodyguard. Besides, Yao Qianqian was handsome and steady, which was very suitable for her. She enthusiastically took Yao Qianqian into the villa and arranged a room for her. Because their figures were similar, she found a lot of new clothes and shoes for Yao Qianqian. The little fellow also liked Yao Qianqian very much. She kept calling her aunt. Only Damao and Ermao smelled Yao Qianqian and roared from time to time, but they were stopped by Qin Haodong. After that, Qin Haodong returned the king green jade to the little fellow, but this time it was put away by Lin Momo. After breakfast, everything in the Lin's family was on the right track. Lin Momo went to work under the protection of Yao Qianqian. At the same time, many things happened in Jiangnan City. The Jiangnan criminal police team made great achievements after a surprise interrogation. Although the one-eyed Meng gang was very tight-lipped, Nalin Wuxia still found out from his men that the mastermind behind it was Zhou Zizue, and organized an arrest overnight. But Feng Tianda had already prepared. Soon after Meng Gang and others were arrested, he used the connections of the Feng's group to get the news from the criminal police team. Zhou Tsuetsue was originally very arrogant, but she was immediately scared after knowing the seriousness of the matter. She also knew that this was Huaxia, not Burma. If something happened, her brother could not protect her, so she immediately asked Feng Tianda to send her back to Burma. It turned out that what she did was right. Not long after she left, Naylan Wuxia came to the Feng's group with her men, but they failed. Zhou Tsuetsue returned to Burma, and the Huaxia police had no good way to deal with her for the time being. After sending away this unreasonable and ugly girlfriend, Feng Tianda felt relieved. He was really tortured by Zhou Tsuetsue these days, and it could be said that he had paid a great sacrifice for the interests of the Feng's family. From the bottom of his heart, he hated this woman to death. If Zhou Tsuetsue hadn't taken a fancy to Qin Haodong's 2 dogs, he wouldn't have lost all the money that he had accumulated over the years and lost his face. Fortunately, he finally sent away the jinx, and he devoted all his energy to the raw gemstone exhibition in the exhibition center. Shortly after the opening in the morning, one of his men came to report to him that a lot of stone gamblers came to the raw gemstone exhibition with their dogs. Last night, the news that Qin Haodong used dogs to choose raw gemstones and won 3 games in a row had spread in the circle of stone gambling. Many people also brought their dogs with the mentality of trying. For a time, the raw gemstone exhibition in the exhibition center almost turned into a famous dog exhibition. All kinds of famous dogs gathered together, including golden retrievers, huskies, and labradors. There were even 2 people who came with their pet pigs. It was said that pigs had a much more sensitive sense of smell than dogs. Feng Tianda immediately panicked. Although he didn't know whether these dogs had the ability of Damao and Ermao. If they did, the Feng family would go bankrupt. He quickly issued an emergency rule. At first, it was to restrict all dogs from entering the raw gemstone exhibition. Later, he thought it was not perfect, so he changed it to restrict all non-human creatures from entering the raw gemstone exhibition. After driving all kinds of big and small dogs out of the raw gemstone market, he finally heaved a sigh of relief. But before he could take a breath, suddenly a news spread in the stone gambling circle, saying that the raw gemstones of the old pit type of Feng's group were all fake, and no good jade could be cut out. What's more, some people said that the gambling last night was a good show made by the Feng's group. In fact, the young man with the dog was a shill hired by the Feng's group, and the purpose was to fool everyone. At first, Feng Tianda didn't care at all, thinking that the rumor was too ridiculous. But with the opening of the raw gemstone exhibition, many guests chose the raw gemstones and cut them on the spot, but no one cut out a piece of jade more than 3 times the premium. Most people lost money. This result further encouraged the rumor, and it spread more and more widely. The final result was that no one went to the Feng's group's exhibition, but went to the Lin's group's. In less than a day, the situation had a big reversal. The Feng's group became deserted, while the Lin's group was overcrowded, which made Feng Tianda very upset, but he couldn't find the reason. Outside the exhibition center, under the careful operation of Naylan Wuxuang, Daddy Security Company made the headlines of major media in Jiangnan City. Daddy Security Company is extraordinary, and foreign criminals are caught in Huaxia. When a woman is robbed, Daddy keeps her safe. Daddy Security Company is the fighter of the security industry. In the forums and post bars of major websites, the news about Daddy Security Company was also on the top, which attracted widespread attention. Qin Haodong didn't pay attention to these things. At this time, he was in front of the Jiangnan Art Museum with the little fellow, ready to participate in the Golden Voice Children's singing competition. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.